Okay, this dog is bad. This dog is bad. Hi, come on in. She unplugged everything. Come on in, take your seats. I skipped intro and went straight into it. Come on in, take your seats. This dog, let me tell y'all what I've been doing. Lucy, where she gets under here, so she's right under my desk, and then right back here on the other side of her plant is that's where behind my computer monitor is, or not monitor, my computer, whatever the thing is called, whatever like the actual computer part is called. And she gets behind there sometimes, like to sniff around and see what's going on. And she got back there and unplugged my camera, unplugged the microphone, because those are both like plugged into the back of my computer. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out why my camera's not coming on. So I had to get on my knees, like up under my desk, to try to figure out what the heck was going on. And she unplugged it when she was messing around in there yesterday. And while I'm down there trying to, don't encourage her, Natalie. Oh, don't you encourage her. She's in trouble. While I'm down there trying to figure out what the heck has happened, I'm like having to lean, like I'm under my desk. So I'm basically like in her little area down here. And she's like looking at me like, why are you in my area? I was like, not only did this little heifer unplug all my stuff, but she also just like looked at me like I was crazy when I had to invade her space to get it fixed. So anyway, she's look at her looking at me like, you're a bad dog. I told them how bad you are. They all know. She's staring at me. Yay to Friday, and I am done. You know, if she was going to be a bad dog, today's the day to do it, because there's no proof. This is what we call circumstantial evidence. If she's gonna pick a day to do some bad dog nonsense, today would be the day, because there's not a whole lot that can spoil my mood. Today is my last day of treatment. I am done with treatment. Yes. Thank you, Dinah 420. Thank you. Let's start this party train. I do feel like it's a party. I feel like it's a party. I'm so happy. I thought this day would never come. True Crime Ranch, thank you so much. Congrats on last treatment. I am starting this train rolling. Thank you. My mod, y'all are awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Look at y'all still defending Lucy. No. She's a bad dog. She's the only other one who lives here. She is my only roommate. I know it was her. Oh well, that's all right. But yes, I'm very excited. Thank you so much. Bell Train, congrats. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love seeing all the celebration stuff, and I'm so happy. So, Lucy is a good, Denise, of course you're going to defend her. Lucy's a good pup. Give her treats. Congrats on finishing treatment. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm very, very grateful. Regina Crawford, do not stand for this nonsense. I'm glad y'all, thank you for the super chat. I'm glad y'all are coming to her defense. Party train for the most beautiful warrior I know. Thank you so much, Miss Kitty. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, I appreciate it. Y'all are awesome. Thank you. Fur Baby's mom, thank you so much. Oh, thank you. It's an exciting day. Exciting day. That's not a hippie member for 1 whole month. Saved my membership message just for today. Oh, yay! Congratulations. So happy to be a part of this household. I love hanging out with y'all while I work. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Happy anniversary. And thank you for saving it for today. Jen, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. Beth Henderson, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm trying to keep up with them, y'all. JMO, thank you so much. You did it. Choo-choo. Yes. Oh, yes. It's so exciting. Oh, wait, I lost it. Hold on. Beth. Oh no. Did I lose? Oh, where'd it go? Little B had, oh, there it is. Little B, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Congratulations. We love you. I love you too. Thank you so much. Be kind, Tiger. Thank you. Congratulations, honey child. Last treatment. Yes. Oh, so proud of you and grace you have shown under fire. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really do. Y'all are very, oh gosh, there's more. Oh, don't make me cry. Sandra Oliver, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Chrissy Bacon, thank you. Incredibly happy for you. Thank you so much. Lucy is innocent. Of course, y'all are going to take her side. Of course you are. Natalie O, thank you so much. CM Southern, thank you. Leah, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm not going to get caught up. Wild Child, happy you're done. Lucy is innocent. Free Lucy. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Y'all are the best. Good start to the day. Oh my gosh. Mildred, that's very, very generous. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Congratulations. Oh, your bravery and spirit inspire me in my own fight. You are a warrior. Cancer picked the wrong chick. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. We got to fight together. All of us going through stuff. Oh, I'm glad we all have each other to lean on. Thank you so much. Oh, Holly Mack. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, we have the best mods ever. Nancy D, you did it, Brandi. You're our warrior. Congrats. Thank you. So excited. Oh, thank you. Jen Devcat, member for 3 whole months. I'm so glad you're part of our family, Jen. You did it. Always smile on your face. We could not be more proud of your strength. Love. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm losing. I'm losing. Oh, Dando, thank you so much. You're a warrior woman. We hear you are. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Y'all are too generous. Tori the Seed Lady, thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate y'all. I really do. Y'all have, it gives me just the support. It helps a lot, and I appreciate it. Bridget Thompson, so happy for you. You are strong. I'm crying with you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it, Bridget. Thank you so much. I have, I can't even catch up. Evangeline, thank you so much. Evangeline Light, congratulations, passions on your last treatment. We love you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, they told me today that I had to tap dance while I was ringing the bell. That didn't happen. And I was like, oh, if they knew about the clogging, they would make me try to clog, but they didn't. So, Amber C, thank you so much. Waited so impatiently to celebrate you today. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's very generous, Amber C. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. I talked to the doctor afterwards today, and I am not going to be able to do the PET scan on Monday. They're going to have to swap it. But the good thing is about that, instead of having to drive 2 hours away to do it, I get to do it at a hospital closer to here. So I'll still do it sometime next week. I'm just not sure when, but it'll be a lot closer. And then I will get my results on the 19th. But I have a good feeling. I feel like, I've had more energy lately. I haven't been as sick. So I feel really, really good about it. I do. I feel really good about it. So thank you, Jill, so much. Thank you, Anne. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. We're never going to get started, y'all. Jackie D, thank you so much. So happy for you, Brandi. You're a warrior and inspiration. Oh, thank you so much. I don't even deserve all this. Thank you so much. Dallas. Oh, thank you so much, Dallas. Love you, Lucy Mods, and this amazing community. And Dallas, we love you too. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate my mods do the best. Like, for every time I get frustrated or start beating myself up over stuff or anything, I go to my mod chat and I'm like, they hear all my all my craziness. So they're the best. I appreciate it. Oh, all right, y'all ready to get started? Oh, Legally blunt for for Lucy's defense team. Last treatment day celebration sent via Venmo. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Y'all are so for Lucy's defense fund. Oh, she's in trouble. Lady in Gray, thank you so much. Congratulations on finishing those hateful treatments. Cancer sucks and you kicked his butt. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. 4 of 6. Big day. It is a big day. It is. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is a big day. It's not only my last treatment, it's also my mom's birthday, and it's closing arguments. So hopefully we are going to get justice for Destiny. It's a big day today. Big day. Whew. Little B, thank you so much. Where would we be if you were not here? God bless you, and you're a warrior. Yes, you do deserve it. Thank you so much. Y'all are too generous. I really do appreciate it. I really do. I just appreciate y'all being here. It means a lot to me. Mary Majors, thank you so much. Y'all, I'm never going to get caught up. We're never going to get started. Mary Majors, thank you so much. Dream and Landry, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Lucy Lawyer, call it. Lucy is fine. She circumstantial evidence. She's already convicted. Thank you so much. Evangeline Light, we love you. Been saving my pennies for this day. Thank you so much. Oh, that's so generous. Thank you so much. Y'all really don't have to. Oh, yay. I love all the happy birthdays to my mom. Yay. Today's her birthday. I had to stop by and see her after treatment because I wanted to see her because it was my last treatment day and her birthday. So I stopped by on the way home. I got to see her. Dino 420. Happy birthday to Bacon Bits. It's Bacon Bits' birthday too. Bacon Bits, happy birthday. Bacon Bits. Thank you so much. Created by EJF. I lost my sister a year and a half ago to cancer. Oh, I'm so sorry. It makes me so happy to see you fighting. How wonderful is the science to allow for more and more people to fight that bitch called cancer. Yes, I agree. I'm very thankful for modern medicine today and all the different ways to help people heal. I'm very sorry for your sister. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, all right, now are we ready to get started? We got closing arguments and jury instructions, and then we will go into verdict watch. Oh, it's like I can't catch my breath. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Oops, wrong one. Dang it. Oops, wait, what is happening? Why isn't it? Oh, I see what's happening. It has my... Don't mind me. I don't know why it changes my screen source. There we go. All right, now we're ready. Okay. Oh, did I miss something while I was doing that? Oh, no, I missed something. Oh, I'm trying to get that situated. Weezer, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Erica, thank you. Last day and International Women's Day. See, there you go. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Get it together, Brandi. Get it together. All right, y'all ready to get started? We have closing arguments to get through. We're looking for justice for beautiful Destiny. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Look, if something else is unplugged, it's going to be Lucy's fault. Let's see. Let me see if I can fix audio. Right now, he's just been telling them that he's doing the docket. Let's see. All right, see if you hear now.
For the actions of Callie or Gavin, is that where?
It could be both, Your Honor.
The state has indicted for neglect.
Oh yeah, we're
which
close.
results in serious bodily injury, i.e. death.
We're really close.
So how is Gavin neglecting his sister?
Katrina, thank you so much.
The neglect count, Your Honor. I'm talking about the felony murder count. And whenever you look at the language of the felony murder count, it says the defendant or one for whom the defendant is criminally responsible unlawfully killed Destiny Oliver. And so whenever I'm talking about criminal responsibility, I'm talking about the person who pulls the trigger and literally shoots the child. I'm not talking about under neglect. I'm talking about the actual person pulling the trigger.
All right, which version of criminal responsibility are you suggesting is appropriate?
I think under what the defense put forward and what the state's put forward in this case.
The language out of the instruction, which
Yes.
of these are you saying fits that?
I think the first one and the third one.
I can't do both. It's error. The Supreme Court case says it's error for me to charge more than one. Can't charge all of them.
So, Your Honor, the case that we have that we'd like for the court to look at is State versus James Lumix, and that talks about separate theories of guilt. And in that case, it says unanimity is never required more than a general verdict in a case where only one offense is at issue based on a single criminal occurrence. Where a jury is unanimous regarding a defendant's guilt on a single offense arising from a single occurrence, the presence of multiple theories poses no issue. And so I think that the court can, in this case, given the litany of things that the defendant has said in this case, put forward more than one of those in the instructions.
But your predicate felony is aggravated child neglect.
That's absolutely correct, Your Honor.
Which means that there has to be someone else responsible for the neglect.
And
the
I'm
result of neglect.
I'm talking about two different things, Your Honor. So whenever we're talking, I'm not asking for the court to talk about criminal responsibility with respect to the neglect in this case. But whenever
that's what you've indicted.
Your Honor, I'm talking about the felony murder count in this case. Felony murder has two elements. The first element is that the defendant or someone for whom the defendant is criminally responsible killed Destiny. So for the first element, that's the only thing that I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about the second count where we get into aggravated child abuse. I'm talking about the first. I'm talking about the first element of this offense.
General, I'm not. You and I are just not communicating this morning. In order to prove felony murder, you have to prove the predicate felony, in this instance, aggravated child neglect, and that during the commission of that predicate felony, death resulted as a proximate result of the conduct, i.e. the bank robber goes in, and during the course of the bank robbery, somebody gets shot and killed. That's felony murder all day long. You don't have to prove that anybody intended to kill anybody.
And that's the second. Can we pull up the projector so I can show the court what I'm talking about?
It's on.
They don't seem like they're very happy with each other. Do you want to listen to this at 1.25 so we can catch up?
Had you indicted her for, in addition, account for aggravated child neglect, had you indicted her for aggravated child abuse, I think you would have a much more compelling argument. But you just indicted her for the neglect.
There are three elements to felony murder that the state has charged in this case. The first element is that the defendant or one for whom the defendant is criminally responsible unlawfully killed Destiny Oliver. That's the first element. That's the only thing I'm talking about. The second one, the killing was committed in the perpetration of or the attempt to perpetrate the alleged aggravated child neglect. That is, that the killing was closely connected to the alleged aggravated child neglect and was not a separate, distinct, and independent event. I think we're talking about two different things. I am asking for instruction about criminal responsibility because of the first element that the state has to prove in that case, which is that Destiny Oliver was unlawfully killed. And that's why we need this instruction.
Aggravated child neglect.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Thank you.
I'll just reiterate, you and I are not communicating. Let me give you this hypothetical. Let's assume you had indicted Ms. Howington for aggravated child abuse in addition to aggravated child neglect. All right, the abuse, to prove aggravated child abuse, you would have to prove that the defendant, or one for whom the defendant is criminally responsible, knowingly abused, and I'm paraphrasing the language of the statute, knowingly abused a child less than 8 years of age, which resulted in serious bodily injury or death. Well, obviously, if the proof doesn't support that Ms. Howington personally pulled the trigger, the argument would then be, well, ladies and gentlemen, she is criminally responsible for Callie, or for, if the facts support that, or for Gavin's actions, which resulted in serious bodily injury and death. But you've indicted for neglect. You've indicted to say that she is criminally responsible, or excuse me, that her conduct, her negligent conduct, resulted in the death of this child.
But her negligent conduct can be...
How is Gavin responsible for her negligent conduct? That's what I'm asking.
I'm not saying that Gavin is responsible for her negligent conduct. When the court...
Then how is criminal responsibility
Because
applicable?
when you look at criminal responsibility, it talks about somebody... Give me just a second.
She's so frustrated.
Do you know what TPI that is?
301.
I've got a cork ready. Today's a special day. We're gonna do a cork.
It says here, the defendant is criminally responsible for an offense committed by the conduct of another if, acting with the culpability required for the offense, the defendant causes or aids an innocent or irresponsible party to engage in conduct prohibited by the definition of the offense.
And had you indicted her for abuse, I would agree with you. You indicted her for neglect.
Your Honor, it doesn't matter if it's abuse or neglect. That makes no difference at all to this analysis. The fact of the matter is, if Gavin is the one that pulled the trigger in this case, he is an innocent or irresponsible person, and she is responsible for his conduct and his behavior under this definition of criminal responsibility.
She is, if that's the conduct that is indicted. I don't know why we're not communicating on this, General. Do you want to weigh in on this?
But I can only say that it has always appeared to me that what that is talking about is when acting in concert, which is what the felony murder statute is about. This is like saying you and I go to rob the convenience store, I shoot the clerk, they charge the guy who's at home mowing my lawn.
No.
Because I'm criminally responsible. He's criminally responsible for my
Here's an
actions.
example. Let's assume a criminal defendant decides he wants to rob a bank. That criminal defendant finds a person, let's just use a 5-year-old child. Finds him a 5-year-old child, and he said, hey, we're going to have some fun. You're going to walk into this bank, and I'm going to give you this, it's a gun. It sure looks like a gun, and you get to carry this in. And when the 5-year-old child carries a gun, he said, oh, by the way, I want you to hand this note to the teller. And then we're going to play another game. The second that teller gives you some money, I want to time you to see how fast you can run out of there. Then the government indicts that defendant, assuming that he's caught, all of it's provable. The government indicts that defendant for bank robbery. If the government then indicts that defendant for bank robbery, that part of the statute, the criminal responsibility statute, fits to a T. Had you indicted Ms. Howington for aggravated child abuse, I would be much more amenable to agreeing with you on this. But the conduct that the state is attempting to hold her culpable for is the neglect. That's what you've indicted her for. How do I get to there on criminal responsibility?
Your Honor, are you saying that she can't be responsible for allowing her child to get the gun in this case?
No, I'm not saying that at all. That's the neglectful conduct you have alleged in this case to get you to a jury and to attempt to convict them. That's what this whole case is about. Where was the gun and how did that child get it?
I'm going to read comment 1 from 3.01. The defendant is criminally responsible for an offense committed by the conduct of another if, having a duty imposed by law or voluntarily undertaken to prevent commission of the offense and acting with the intent to benefit in the proceeds or result of the offense or to promote or assist its commission, the defendant fails to make a reasonable effort to prevent commission of the offense. And the next part, the defendant who is criminally responsible for an offense may be found guilty not only of that offense, but also for any other offense or offenses committed by another if you find beyond a reasonable doubt that the other offense or offenses committed were the natural and probable consequence of the original offense for which the defendant is found criminally responsible.
Natural and probable consequence is real disappointing. That's not even an issue here. Look, what is the conduct that, under the language you just read, what is the conduct that you're saying that she is accountable for?
For leaving her gun in a place where her young child has access to it.
Exactly, i.e. neglect, correct? Which is what she's indicted for.
And that's, again, Your Honor, I know that we're disagreeing right now on this point, but what I'm talking about is criminal responsibility for the first element. That's all I'm talking about.
You have a case that says I can parse that first element out?
Yes. State of Tennessee versus James Lennox. Would the court like to see that?
I don't think it's going to say that, John.
Thank you for gifted membership. Daniel for 20. Thank you, thank you. Oh, I'll be right back.
How did you send that to us? That's not leaving.
I haven't read the whole case, General, but explain to me how this case changes the result at all. That Lomax case changes the result at all. You had people in a vehicle where the defendant was accused of driving the vehicle, and the court gave an instruction on criminal responsibility for driving under the influence, correct? Which was the indicted charge. How is Gavin criminally responsible in this case for the neglect, which is what is indicted?
I'm not saying that Gavin is criminally responsible. I'm saying that she is criminally responsible for Gavin's actions.
Okay, how does criminal responsibility fit? How did Gavin commit neglect?
I don't think he did.
It appears to me that I can't be responsible for someone else's criminal act if they are not acting criminally. And that is the issue. How did he?
I don't completely agree with that, but the problem is one about how this case is indicted, because the predicate felony here is neglect, not abuse. Had you indicted for abuse as well, I think you would have a much more compelling argument that she is criminally responsible for Gavin's conduct under the language, and at least it creates a factual question for the jury to resolve. But I have to be able to say that Gavin is criminally responsible for the neglect as well as pulling the trigger.
That's not what I'm asking the court to do. I'm asking the
Then you're
court
asking me to do
to
something
give an
unlawful.
instruction that she is criminally responsible for the actions of Gavin, not the other way around. That Ms.
I
Howington.
understand that, but there has to be. But the predicate felony, I don't know how many times I have to keep saying this, the predicate felony is one of neglect.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get to a felony murder prosecution in this case. We'll take 5 minutes and I'll go back and read this case in its entirety. I don't see it, but I'll give you that much. Stand in recess.
All right, sorry. Somebody at the door. Okay. Did they get it figured out? Y'all catch me up. I was talking in the
Statement of the day, as general as you and I truly were not communicating with one another. I think the state's request is to leave the language in count 1 that is there. I'm going to leave that language. I thought there was a request to separately define further and impose a separate theory of criminal culpability. That's not the request, so I think we're all good. We ready to bring the jury in and argue this case?
There's just one more thing I wanted to address before. So I know obviously that this is a case that involves highly emotional subjects. What we would ask is that the court instruct any family members, including the defendant, to please try and control their emotions when the parties are giving closing arguments, just like we do victims
I think that's
and
a
their
fair
families.
request. Anyone within the courtroom that's in front or behind the bench, or the bar rather. This is a critical point in the trial for both sides to be able to advocate their position to this jury, and the jury needs to be able to hear everything that's being said and argued. So do your very best to control your emotions. If you have emotions that spring forth, attempt to do so as quietly as humanly possible.
Your Honor, sorry, just one last thing. Can we also refrain from discussing punishment and or asking the jury to put themselves in the defendant's shoes? I think there were a couple of statements made in opening to that effect, and so we would just ask that that not be brought up during closing.
Well, punishment is clearly off, out of bounds and off limits. That's for the court to decide. If she's convicted of first-degree felony murder, the punishment's automatic. But that's clear law that that's not a part of what their task is to worry about what her punishment is. Their task is to decide whether or not the state has proven each and every element in this case beyond a reasonable doubt. So stay away from those topics. Let's argue this case, get the jury lined up.
In the many years I've been trying cases against you and in front of you, that's happened. But I'll keep that in mind.
The many years of what?
Trying cases both against you and with and in front of you.
Well, we tried a couple with each other too.
That's what I said. Well, against you, that about me.
I think the only thing you've established, Mr. Whalen, is that you and I are both pretty old. So.
I don't think I was hiding that anyway.
The judge has warned me. I have to control myself during closings. I will keep that in mind.
Time constraints on either side, but don't belabor points, get to them.
Here we go. Get the eyebrows ready. Oh, I made a cork. I made a cork for last treatment day and today's date. So this one will go in the special occasion cork jar. Yay.
All rise for the jury.
Whew. Who thinks she will not control her emotions? Let's do a poll.
Everyone may have a seat. Wait for call from the state for the defense. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. We kept you waiting a little bit longer than we thought we were going to. We were ready to start argument in this case. Blame me. I was the reason that we had to take a little bit longer. Let's talk a couple minutes about closing argument, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to the attorneys. Because the state has the burden of proof, and this, as in every criminal case, you will hear first and last from the state. You will hear one time on behalf of Ms. Howington by Mr. Whalen. I want you to listen very carefully to what each of the lawyers argue to you. They know their case. They can point you to facts which they believe have been established within this record, as well as inferences that you may draw from those facts in order to assist you in your deliberative process when you get this case here in a couple hours from the court. I want to remind you, however, that what the lawyers say is not evidence. The evidence that you must base your verdict upon in this case must have come from this witness stand or from an exhibit introduced through the various witnesses who have testified or by stipulation or agreement of the parties. The state has the burden of proof. General McDermott, you are recognized on behalf of the state of Tennessee for your opening argument.
Do y'all want me to keep this at 1.25, or do you want me to go to normal time for this?
September 14th, 2019. Destiny Oliver is 5 years old, 56 pounds, 48 inches, was shot and killed by her mother's gun, Robin Howington's gun. In this case, ladies and gentlemen, is about this individual. That's what this case is about. It's about what happened to this on Balsam Drive, September 14th, 2019. You all heard all of the testimony in this case. You've heard all the witnesses. I submit to you the proof in this case has shown that Robin Howington's negligence, her negligence, as tragic as this is, for this little mistake, her negligence is the reason that this child is no longer missing. I want to talk about. I want to talk about the night of September 14, 2019. What was Destiny doing? You all heard testimony in this case about what she was doing. She was at a park, according to Ms. Howington. It was her, it was her mother, and her 2-year-old little brother. She was at a park that day, and then they came home. You heard whenever she got home, that she was hungry, she hadn't eaten that night. And so what Destiny was doing at her home on Balsam Drive, right before this incident happened, is she is sitting on her couch. She is watching TV with a remote control in her hand. And this little girl is waiting for her milk. And she has no idea about what's getting ready to happen. As she sat there on the couch with the remote in her hand, a gun was fired, and that bullet came out of the gun, went into her hand, out of her hand, into the remote, into her chest, out the back of her body, and into that remote. We heard from the testimony in this case what else came out of that gun, besides that bullet that went through Destiny's body. We heard that there was gunshot residue particles. We heard the testimony of Kyle Osborne, the TBI agent. He testified about how gunshots work. When that trigger hits the back of the cartridge, there's a projectile that's expanded, and then there's fire and gunpowder, and then out of that gun, through the cracks of the gun, as you heard that officer testify, comes these tiny microscopic.
Okay, I'm going to put it to normal speed because she's not in front of the mic, so it's almost impossible to hear her. She talks so quiet anyway, and then she's not in front of a mic, so all we're hearing is like the background noise. So I'm going to slow it down so maybe we can hear more of it. The only thing I've heard her say, she's talking about Destiny was watching TV, had no idea what was about to happen. The gun was fired, a gun that Robin was responsible for. So it's really hard to hear her. I can't do anything about it. I'm putting it back to normal speed, and I've got the sound boosted, but if she's not standing in front of a microphone, I can't make her stand in front of a microphone.
He testified that when a gun is fired, those particles go about 5 or 6 feet from the where the gun is fired, and then they settle down. And there's 3 different ways that gunshot residue or gunshot particles can get on a person's clothing. You've heard that it can get there if you fire a weapon, if you are in close proximity, 5 to 6 feet of a weapon when it's fired. And then he also testified that you can get gunshot particles on you if you touch somebody that has gunshot particles on them. So what do we know in this case that happened? We know that.
She said, for those of you who can't hear, I'll do what I can. She said, she's talking about the GSR particles. She said that there's only 3 ways for the GSR particles to get on you, and she talked about her having them on her clothes. She said if you fire a weapon, if you're within 5 to 6 feet of where it was fired, or if it's transferred.
Gavin, the 2-year-old, has gunshot particles on him, on his clothing, on the front of his little Nike t-shirt. If you all saw it.
Gavin has GSR on him.
The defendant has gunshot residue, gunshot particles on her face.
So does Robin.
And so we know those 3 things have to be what happened in this case. Fire the weapon, or in close proximity to the weapon, or touch someone who did one of those 2 things. So that's the proof that you all heard. That's what we know from that particular part of the proof in this case. So I want to shift for a second, and I want to talk about the other things that we absolutely know in this case. Because I submit to you that the defendant has told so many stories, so many different stories that you're not going to be able to rely on what she says happened that night. You can't. She's told too many stories for it to be reasonable for you all to believe what she's saying.
I'm going to try to type this as fast as I can, not verbatim what she's saying, but I'll type it because it's easier than pausing it. But she's talking about now that the defendant has told so many stories that you can't rely on anything she says.
So let's start with what we absolutely know in this case. You all watched the video in this case, the video from the neighbor's camera. And it was grainy and it was kind of boring and we watched it for a long time. I'm sure it wasn't the most dynamic or interesting part of this case. But that video, ladies and gentlemen, is very important. Very important. And the reason the video is important because it establishes that there are people there and that there are people going in and out of that house. And it also establishes how long the people are in the house and how many times they come and go. So that's why we're going to start with that. So the video that you watched, if you'll recall, there is a car that arrives at the beginning of that video. And I'm not going to make you watch it. Watch the whole thing here again because you guys have already done that. You will have that video back in the jury room. You may watch it at your pleasure as many times as you want during the operation. But what we saw in that video was that there was a car that arrived at 8:29:38, then leaves at 8:31:08, and then you can see that there's a car that arrives at 8:41:04, and that's going to be this car, the one with the green arrow in it up on the screen. And that car, we don't know if it's the same car as this one or if it's a different car. But we know that person that was in the car sat there with their lights on from 8:41:04 until later on, and we'll get to that. So the next thing that happens, the next part of the video that's important is this part that I have up on the screen. This portion of the video is whenever the defendant, Robin Howington, gets to the house, and she gets there at 8:42:43. So when she's there, that vehicle is waiting for her. That's uncontroversial. That's what happened. And we know that because a neighbor happens to have a video that shows this things. The next thing that you see on that video is that Destiny then walks inside the house. She goes first. She walks in at 8:43:28. She walks inside her home. It's going to be the last time that this little girl goes into her home. And she's followed quickly thereafter by Ms. Howington, who is carrying it. So Destiny goes in, Ms. Howington goes in. And then there are several minutes that this person who is in this car is sitting outside. It's not a situation where that person comes and helps her with the kids or helps her in or just gives her money real quick because they owe her for car tinted window. No, that person waits. And they wait several minutes for her to get in with her children. 8:46:05. You might have to watch the video more than one time. It's a little difficult to see. You will see right before 8:46:05 that the door is closed, right here. And at 8:46:05 there's activity and that door is open. And I submit to you what's happening there. So Ms. Howington is calling that person. Okay, it's okay now to come into my house. And then the person in the car walks up to the house and goes in. You all will see in that video, you've already seen the individual goes in at 8:46:43 and remains in that house till 8:47:47, which is 63 seconds. 63 seconds. And the reason that's important, ladies and gentlemen, is because the defendant doesn't know about this video when she's talking to the police initially. The defendant doesn't know that the comings and goings of the people at the house has been recorded.
Because I don't believe there's any testimony about when Miss Howington knew that video.
This is final argument.
Miss
It's got to be
Howington.
within the record.
Miss
Okay,
Howington
your
was not
objection's
seen that
done.
video until the second interview, when the police come in with their laptop and show her portions of that video. When she makes her initial statements, she has no idea that what happened at that house has been recorded, and that there's only 63 seconds that this person is in there. And that's important. That's important. Because it shows that her stories about what's happening inside the house are not true. Are not true. She can't come into this courtroom and say, oh, there's this fight with Anton, and there's this big struggle with the gun, and all these things that are happening. She can't say that anymore. It's not true, first of all. But it's not backed up by the video that you all were able to see because the neighbor happened to have a video camera next door to 502 Paulson Drive. And you all saw in that video that person comes in calmly, walks away calmly. And then what's the next thing that happens? The defendant exits her home. She does that at 8:48:52. She leaves her home. She leaves her 2 children inside her house, unattended, which is fine to do, unless you have a loaded firearm in a place where a child can easily access it. That is negligence to leave your house. Leave your 2-year-old and 5-year-old in your house when there is a loaded firearm easily accessible. That is the definition of negligence. And she wants you to think, and we'll get to this in a minute, she wants you to think, oh, that gun's up in the top of the closet. Or that gun's somewhere else. The child had to have gotten on a stool and reached up to the closet and gotten from the top of the closet. That's not where that gun was, ladies and gentlemen. Think about what's just happened. I submit to you that what's just happened, consistent with what we heard about Miss Howington, is that there is a drug transaction that happens. That person waits outside for 3 minutes so that she can get her kids into the house and out of the way so that he can come in or she can come in, buy some pills. She has that gun there when this transaction happens. You all heard Investigator Pate. You all heard him testify in his numerous years of law enforcement experience about how drug transactions happen quickly, and that often there are firearms there for the protection of the person that's selling the drugs or the person that's selling. And I submit to you that's why the gun was on it. And the person responsible for that gun and where it was is not Destiny. It's not Gavin. It's not these law enforcement officers. That's ones to blame for everything that happened. The person responsible for where her gun is that night is this lady, Miss Howington. So Miss Howington leaves her home. 8:48:52. Returns after she moves her car. You all saw that on the video. She moves her car. Takes a couple minutes to do that, and then she goes back inside. After she gets in the home, there's about 3 minutes before she calls 911. Here's the portion of the video where she is calling 911. And this is important, ladies and gentlemen. It's important because when she calls 911, what is she doing? What are her actions? First of all, it's important to note that when she calls 911, her reaction to her child that has just been shot and who is mortally wounded her reaction to that is not to get on the phone and tell the 911 operator exactly what's happened. Her choice, her decisions, her actions, her words to the 911 operator are lies. She decides. This detective doesn't make her say anything to 911. Detective Wardlaw doesn't make her say anything to 911. Ms. Howington is responsible for her actions and for her words. And her immediate response to her child being shot in the chest, her immediate response is to get on the phone and call 911 and start spinning a story. Start blaming it on someone else. And why? Why? Ask yourself, why would she do that? Why would she do that? Ms. Howington lies to 911 and spins this web of lies because she's trying to protect Gavin. She does these things because she's trying to protect herself. She's trying to protect Robin Howington. But she knows right away, when she's on the phone with 911, right away, that leaving her gun out and allowing her children access to her gun is her fault. And it's tragic, ladies and gentlemen. You will not hear the state say that she purposely shot her child or she wanted this to happen. That's not what we're saying to you. What we are saying to you, and what the proof shows in this case, is that Destiny died because of her negligence. This was an avoidable death. And Ms. Howington is responsible for the death of this child, as sad as it is. So let's talk about this 911 call. What I'm going to show you is the clip of the house outside synced with the 911 call.
On Saturday, September 14, 2019, at 8:53 p.m., with a GMT offset of -240 minutes, agent ID, extension is 202.
I apologize for interruption. I have not been shown this demonstrative piece that is linking two separate incidents so that I could test myself whether or not it's directly related to.
This final argument, both of these pieces of evidence are in the record, overruled.
Why? This is not normal for closings.
On Saturday, September 14, 2019, at 8:53 p.m., with a GMT offset of -240 minutes, agent ID, extension is 202.
County 911.
I don't know how to see this through with this at my house, and my fucking daughter just got shot, man. Please hurry. I'm gonna follow through Awesome Drive.
What? She just got shot right now, ma'am?
Yes.
Who did it? The guy that just walked into your door?
Yes.
Okay, what's your name, ma'am?
Robin.
Robin. Okay, where's your daughter at, ma'am?
She's on the couch. She's on the couch.
Where did you shoot her at, ma'am? Her arm?
It was my head.
Okay. We're on our way. I've already sent it, Robin. We're on our way down. She's laying on the bed.
What do I need to do? What do I need to do?
We're coming, Miss Robin. Let me let you speak with Mandarin, sir. The guy who did that, was he white, black, or Hispanic?
He was black.
Okay. What was he wearing?
He had a black shirt on.
Okay. Did he say anything when you guys opened the door?
She goes back in,
No.
Okay.
and you can hear her.
Okay, real quick, if you see her little green laser pointer, this is actually a really good, I'm glad she did this. She's playing the 911 call synced up with the video to show that this is what, she's literally on the phone saying this, going, what do I do? What do I do? And she's outside putting the gun in the bushes at this point.
So,
My baby's right in your door. Oh my God, please come down. Please come
we're
down.
on our way, Miss Robin. Let me speak to the editor so that the table do something for 1 minute for me.
Oh my God, yes.
We're on our way. car, Miss Robin?
He was in the car, he was in a black car, and I opened up the door. Hey, Marcy, I guess in your emergency. Doctor, do Boston Jobs. Okay, telephone number 951-8096. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I already have an ambulance on the way there. Tell me exactly what's going on. I had a man that just came to the fucking door, man, and he fucking, I don't know what the hell happened. The door was unlocked, and he came in here, and he fucking shot my daughter, dude, and she's laying here, and she's not fucking breathing, dude, please come. She's not breathing? No. Okay, do you want to try to do CPR? Please just come my door, just to talk about everything. She is breathing, she is breathing.
She is breathing. She says she said she's not breathing, and the 911 operator says, okay, do you want to do CPR? And she goes, oh, she is breathing. Remember, the medical examiner said that based on her injuries, she would have had passed within, what'd she say, like 15 to 30 seconds, give or take. So we know that it's been longer than that. And she says, after they say something about giving her CPR, she tells 911 that her daughter is breathing.
Yes. How old is she? She's 5. How old? 5. 5? Yes. Okay. Alright, I've got help on the way. They've been on the way since you very first call, okay? Is that her you're crying? No, that's my son. That's your son. Okay. Yes. Okay. They're coming to you as fast as they can, I promise. Okay, you said she is breathing. Is she able to speak to you at all? Is she conscious at all? No. Destiny. Oh my God, I can't believe this shit. Okay, and you have no idea who it was that shot her? No, I didn't know. My door was wide open. Okay. They're here. They're here now. Okay, alright, go talk to them. Okay. Bye-bye.
That 911 call ends. This is a small point, but something that I want you all to consider as well. Now, when the defendant was on the stand, she testified that when the officer came into the house, which he's not left his car yet, you all saw, his car is pulled up, he's not gotten out yet, he's not walked in the house. She testified on the stand yesterday that she's on the phone with 911 when the officer comes in. That's not true. Again, just a small point. She's on the phone at this point when the officer comes in with her. So let's go back and let's talk about this 911 call. So in the 911 call, as I said, her first reaction, immediately after this happens, is to blame this on someone else. To blame it on an unknown black male that came into the house and shot her daughter. And she says on the stand yesterday that the reason that all these lies comes out is because she wants to protect Gavin. Let's talk about that for a second. She wants to protect Gavin. What does that mean? She doesn't want Gavin to know, she says, that he shot his sister. Does that really make sense? Does that really make sense? First of all, Gavin's 2 years old. There's one of two things that are going to happen. He's either going to remember this or he's not. If Gavin remembers what happened, there's nothing she can say or do that's going to change that. If Gavin doesn't remember, he gets older and he doesn't remember this. She can talk to him about it. She can decide that big family secret, we're not going to talk about it, he never knows about it. Or she can decide to tell him the truth about what happened. Say to him, Gavin, you were 2 years old. There was a gun that was not secured in the house that you got. This is my fault. She can say that. That's take responsibility for her actions. And she absolutely doesn't. And her course of conduct from the 911 call forward blatantly shows that Ms. Howington does not want to take any responsibility for anything that happened to her. Any responsibility. Instead, not only does she lie to the 911 operator, she gets rid of the gun. She hides this gun that was used to shoot her. She takes it outside while on the phone with 911, while her daughter is in the house having been shot. It's more important for her to leave that house and to put that gun outside in the dark. You can see the gun in this picture. Remember, the officer testified because he has a really bright light on his hand. Those first set of pictures where he's come around that corner, you can see just how dark it is. Just how dark it is back in that corner of the house, the side of the house. She takes this gun that was used to shoot this little girl. Her first reaction is to take this gun and to take it outside and hide it under a bush. Why would she do that? She's conscious of her own harm. She knows that she is the one who had any negligence. Officer Cummings gets there at 8:56:15. You all recall from his testimony that he approached cautiously because he knew there was a shooting, and he didn't really know very many more details about what was happening. You all remember he was our second witness that we had that testified. Officer Cummings testified that he got to the house, approached the door cautiously, and that he went inside. He says that when he went inside, that he sees the defendant sitting on the couch. And he says, has anybody been shot? What's going on? And it was and that's when Officer Cummings sees Destiny's feet on armrest.
General Drummond, if you could speak up just a little bit, please.
He sees this little girl, he grabs her, he takes her outside, immediately gets her to an ambulance, and that's his testimony about what happened. He gets there, he asks, is anyone hurt? She points to Destiny, and remember he also said that it was eerily quiet. Typically, when he arrives at a scene like this, people are come this way, or this is where she is, and the defendant's not doing anything. She's sitting there, she's pointing to her doctors. She's thinking, holy crap. My run. She starts to go into self-preservation. So let's talk about our next set of actions, because they say, again, a lot about her mindset, a lot about what she's thinking, her deception, her lies. They are not, as the defense attorney wants you to believe, something that is caused by these officers in this case. They happen before anybody even gets there. And they continue from the point where she calls 911 the whole way up to the end of the last interview. She is not truthful about what happened. Why? Why is she not truthful? Again, it's because she knows that she's responsible. She was negligent. She speaks to officers as they arrive on the scene. This is one of the officers' videos that you heard. I'm going to play this portion where she's describing
Let them And all we got right now is a price for 300 dark tinted windows.
She says there was a black car there with dark tinted windows. So she begins this weave of trying to look for this other person who killed her child. This unknown person that's coming to the house, and they have a black car that has tinted windows. And you know what? When she told that to Detective Riddle, and she talked about how she's sitting on the couch and she's looking the whole way down and she can see through the dark the whole way to the car, and she can describe that it's a black Chrysler and it has dark tinted windows, he thinks, you know what? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't ring true. He believes at this point in time that he has a grieving mother, but he also is aware that what she's saying doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense. And he gives her the benefit of the doubt. He asks her, tell me more information about this unknown individual that's come into your house. And she does. She provides additional details about this person. But this detective, obviously, when in this house and faced with this statement that this woman has seen through the first room, through the second room, out the door, out through the dark, to a car that she says is out there, and she can describe it as a black Chrysler with dark tinted windows. Because it doesn't make any sense. And it's not true. It's not true. We know that now. It's not true. What does she say to Detective Riddle at the scene?
All in there. We just got home here right here beside Ross.
When you say you all, it's you and your dog?
Yes.
Okay, you're in here.
And the door was open like it is now.
Okay, and what happened?
And he just came in here, and we were all sitting right there.
Who's he?
I don't know who he is.
You don't know who this
I don't
guy
have
is?
a clue. I've never seen him in my life.
And he walks in here. And will you show me just so I can know?
Yes.
Is
He was
there
lying on the couch. I was sitting right beside her. He was sitting right here. I was sitting right here. She was laying right here. And he just shot. And then it was like he was surprised. I don't know if he was trying to shoot me or what, but he shot her.
Where were you sitting?
I was right here.
And she's right here?
Right here.
Right here.
She was laying down right here.
And you were sitting down the whole time and he comes in and wants to judge you?
Yes. I didn't even realize he was in here until it was already.
And what happened? How many times did you hear him shoot?
Just one time.
One time. And when he shot, what happened? Did he say anything?
Nothing. He looked like he was surprised because she just went limp.
So again, her statement there to Detective Riddle gives details about this event that happened that absolutely didn't happen. She provides, and then later on she tells him, I looked down the hallway and I can see that it's a black car with tinted windows. And more importantly, what else does she say to Detective Riddle? I think it was meant for me. I think it was meant for me. So the fact that these officers are investigating this case as if it's a homicide is not just because they want to do that. It's because of her actions and what she says. That's why they're investigating this case like a homicide. She's transported to UT Hospital. What's she doing on the way to UT Hospital? She's texting Callie. I need you to get that gun, Callie, for real, ASAP. It's on the side by the air conditioner, in the bush. My phone is about to die. They are taking me to UT. She's texting her boyfriend and saying, go get that gun. That is what is most important for her at this period of time when she's on the way to the hospital. Because again, self-preservation. She knows she's done something. She texts Joe Key. Go to my house, the back way, and get my gun out of the bush under the air conditioner. Gavin shot Destiny. Then come to UT, and I got you for free. She's going to give him some pills for free for doing this for her. The police are there, but if you park in the alley and walk up, you're good because they are in the house. And she's calling, you can see it in the call log, she's calling a bunch of other people. But her main goal there is to make sure somebody goes and gets that gun. And she knows that these text messages are in her phone. And then she also makes a phone call, and you're going to hear her say, "Can you do that, please? Can you do what I just texted you?" Can you do that, please? She calls Joaquin at 9:26. You all will recall his testimony. He says he remembers receiving a phone call. He couldn't hear what she was saying, but that this is the call that she made. And she's saying, "Can you do that, please? Can you do what I just texted you?" And what she's just texting him is to go get the gun and avoid the police while you're doing that. We get to UT Hospital now. And again, the state is not saying that this is something that's not tragic. But what we are saying is that her actions that day are very clearly showing that she is conscious of her wrongdoing. She knows that she has been negligent. And she is desperate at this point in time for the police not to figure out what's going on. She's so desperate, ladies and gentlemen, that when she's in the bathroom, she tries to give her phone to a complete stranger. To Marty Sands. She tries to give her phone. She stands outside the stall. You all remember Marty Sands. She stands outside the stall and waits for her to come out and says, "Take my phone. Take my phone." Sands is like, "I'm not going to do that." So what does the defendant do after that? She runs her phone underwater. She breaks her phone. She wants to say, "Oh, my phone was broken before," and that's fine. Even taking her at her word, at a minimum, she took her phone, tried to give it to a stranger, and then ran it underwater. Because she knows what's on these text messages, ladies and gentlemen. She doesn't want the police to know that she's tried to hide the gun. She's done this and messed it up so much that Officer Pate, who had to come and testify, had to reconstruct it and let it dry out for hours. Put a new screen on the phone before he could look into the phone and see what's there. She continues with this. Next thing that we know that happened is that Ms. Howington is taken to the police station. She is in an interview room, and she is now going to explain what's going on there at the house. So I want to go through her stories because I submit to you that her stories change constantly. Let's start with who shot Destiny. Let's talk about her different stories about who shot Destiny. And remember, the reason this is important is because the reason she has all these different stories is because she wants to deflect anything from showing that she is responsible. That is her goal in talking to the police that day, is to deflect from what she has done. And so she blames multiple people for this shooting. In fact, the 911 call, I'm not going to play again, but you heard, she says, "This dude was just at my house," and her words, "and my fucking daughter just got shot. He was black. He's in a black Chrysler. I had a man that just came to the fucking door. He came in here and he shot my daughter." That's her first story. Her statement to Detective Riddle, which we've just played. "He just came in here and we were all sitting right there. I don't know who he is. I don't have a clue. I've never seen him in my life. She was laying on the couch. I was sitting right beside her. He, meaning Gavin, was sitting right here. I don't know if he was trying to shoot me or what, but he shot her. I didn't realize he was in here until it was already too late." Those are her two stories. two things that she says before the investigators speak to her. Then she comes into the interview room. She comes into the interview room and she talks to the detectives in this case, and this is what she says.
We can get them doing is if you tell us the truth and be helpful with us. Right?
I told you, we just came home from the park and I thought somebody was following me. And so I went down the alley. There's an alley between the neighbors where you took Calvin, or where whoever took Calvin, and somebody followed me. And then I didn't think nothing about it. She was laying on the couch. I turned Netflix on for her, and Gavin was sitting right beside me. I have a roast still cooking right now in the crock pot. I was getting ready to make their plates, and somebody came to the door, and I was sitting on the, whatever you want to call it, the footrest. And she was like this far away from me, laying there, because I was asking her, what else do you want? Because the only thing I had in the crock pot was the roast and carrots. And I let them choose what they want to eat because her dad is a vegan, and so she's somewhat picky about what she eats. And I didn't even hear the door open because it was just a screen door. I had the other door still open because my purse was in the car still because I had to carry Gavin in because he didn't have shoes on. So, whoever, only thing I seen was a black dude come in, and I heard a gunshot, and then I looked at my baby, and then I looked at him, and his eyes got big as I don't know what. Like, I feel like it was meant for me.
What kind of car did it in?
It was a black Chrysler. I'm almost sure it was. I'm not 100% sure, but I could see, like, out the door from where the foot thing was.
So you never went outside to see the car?
No, I got a towel. I got a towel and put it on her.
That's her first story. Next, she starts talking about these kids at the park. In her words, this may be something. Let's see what she says. This may be something, she tells the detectives.
Yes.
Did y'all leave the park?
Well, actually, I'm going to be honest with you. These three boys, there's like this may be something, I don't know. But these three Mexican boys, there's like a fence or whatever, and there's like a bench right beside the fence. And they kept on crawling over it, going to this building that's right beside of the park. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. So the boys were making comments about my breast. So I said, you guys aren't old enough to be talking to me like this, especially in front of my kids. I was like, you're already teaching my son bad things because he's trying to crawl over the fence too. So I went and pulled up because when I walked back up to them, they ran and crossed the fence again. And when they crossed the fence, I drove up there to see if their parents were there. Well, their parents was there, and it was two Mexican men. And I said, you need to teach your sons to be more respectful because they were being very disrespectful and talking to me in ways that I didn't appreciate, especially in front of my daughter.
And so did you drove off after that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, babe.
So she tells the police when she's talking to them that it may be something. There's this thing going on at the park that involved these three Mexican boys. She knows that has nothing. She knows that. Nothing. But instead, she starts talking about these other people that it could be. Here's the next statement.
Been through the alley?
Yeah, because I felt somebody was following me.
So you thought somebody was following you from the park?
No, I don't know from the park. I wasn't paying that much attention because they were complaining that they were thirsty and they were hungry and all this. So I was just consoling them, telling them we're going to be home, you know, the roast is done. Basically, Destiny was the one that was talking.
So when did you first think that somebody was following you?
When I turned left off Oak Ridge Highway onto Shaw Road.
Okay. So what kind of vehicle was that?
I'm not sure. It was a dark colored car. I'm not sure.
So you think a dark colored car was
Yes,
following you
sir.
at that time?
Yes, sir.
But you go straight on home.
Yeah, but I went through the alley, and when I went through the alley, nobody was behind me, so I didn't think nothing of it.
So when did you, so this dark colored car that you thought was following you, when did you not see you following him?
When we stopped at the red light on Callahan, they were behind me.
Callahan, like Callahan and
Central.
That's Central.
Callahan and Central by the Wilders.
So right there by the Wilders and I guess a couple of restaurants and stuff that you didn't see anymore at that point.
Where Asian Cafe used to be, correct.
So you didn't see the car anymore at that point.
Correct.
And then you go on to your house.
Correct.
And again, here she is telling these police officers who she has made them think that there is a homicide of this child about maybe you need to be looking into this other car that I believed followed you. When she knows this has nothing to do with anything that happened. Her next statement. She's going to start talking about Anton. Now, the defense wants you to think, well, the only reason that she said it was Anton is because these police officers overbore her will and made her say it. And that is just not true, ladies and gentlemen. They were looking at a story that wasn't making sense. Wasn't making sense to them. And some unknown person would just come and kill this child. And now they have her saying that she can see this black Chrysler from a place they know she can't do that. And then they have her trying to get rid of her phone and putting it underwater. And so they look at what's available, the police reports, and they say there is a domestic history with this Anton guy. So to them, is this what this is about? And they ask her that. Now, does she have to say, oh yeah, I was Anton? Does she have to do that? No. No. Miss Howington is responsible for the things she does and the things she says. She could have told these officers, no, Anton has nothing to do with this. But she chose not to do that. This is what she says.
So why didn't you tell us that earlier?
Because, I mean, this is his daughter, too. I know that he killed her, but I just don't feel like he did it on purpose. I feel like he was trying to kill me.
So he was already there. Do you have what happens?
He tried to talk. He came in the house. And when he came in the house, I told him I didn't want to talk to him. And he went back outside the house.
Right. Then what happened?
Till he came back in.
He brought Bill back in with you.
Yes.
So this gun that Callie gave you, how long have you had it?
Not very long.
And it was in the house tonight?
No.
That gun never was in the house tonight. So, with that being said, if we told you there was a gun found outside, and we want to make sure that it's not the gun you said Callie gave you, would you mind giving us DNA so we can make sure it's not?
I don't understand what you're saying.
So there's a gun found outside.
Right.
You say Callie gave you a gun at some point.
Right.
We want to make sure that that's not the gun that Callie gave you. The way we do that is DNA. You mind giving us your DNA so we can make sure that's not the gun?
I'm saying Callie did give me that gun. Yeah.
I know that.
Okay.
And you're saying you don't know where that gun is at now.
Correct.
Right. But there was a gun outside your house.
Correct.
So to make sure that that's not the same gun that Callie gave you, you'll run your DNA against the DNA found on that gun. Do you mind if we get DNA so we can do that?
I guess it is the gun that Callie gave me, yeah. He told me he put it outside, he was supposed to put it in the storage.
So now, first of all, she throws Anton completely under the bus. He came in and he murdered this child in cold blood. That's what she tells the officer. She goes so far as to circle him in a lineup. Circle his face. And say, this is the person that killed my child. Now, is she doing that to protect Gavin like she was with him? Or is she doing that to protect herself? And then, when the police confront her, because they've found out from the officers on the scene that there's a gun that's outside the house, she doesn't say, okay, I put it out there. She says, oh, there was a gun in my house. Is it the one outside? I don't know. And then she says, oh, Callie put the gun outside. Which absolutely is the truth. We know that. So this story is Anton brings the gun inside, he leaves, comes back, Anton came into the house, leaves, comes back in with the gun, and then shoots Destiny. And we know that's not true because we've seen the video. Nobody comes in the house and leaves and comes back in. That just didn't happen. This is a complete lie. And then she changes her story yet again.
Gavin got a hold of the gun. It's the honest God truth. But it's one was there.
How are we supposed to believe that?
I guess you did.
Why would you not say that initially?
Because it's my baby. I don't know.
We don't charge to your own baby, so we won't charge to your.
You think we gonna charge a 2-year-old? No.
So now she's saying, Gavin got a hold of the gun. That's the honest to God truth. She's swearing this is what happens. And, more importantly, she's saying Anton is still there. Why is it so important for Miss Howington to say that someone else is there? Why does she say Anton's still there, ladies and gentlemen? Why does she say that? Because she knows that if Anton was there, that's somebody she can blame. That's somebody she can blame for how that gun is out for a child killer. And she is so desperate at this point in time to not be in trouble for her actions that she is willing to circle Anton's picture in a lineup and say that this person murdered her child.
That part's pretty crazy. She circled him in a lineup.
That's what she does. And when they say to her after she changes her story that this is, after she changes it and says to Gavin, hey, you almost had us arrest this guy for first-degree murder. What does she say about that? She doesn't say, oh, yeah, you're right, that's crazy. She doesn't show any remorse. She doubles down and talks about how much she doesn't like it. That's the mindset of this individual who's involved in this case. So here we have a story. Gavin got a hold of the gun. Antoine is there. That's going to change. Now we're on the following day.
To fix the roaster or whatever, or get it out because they didn't use it ready to I didn't actually turn it off, but it was done. This is good like that. And Antoine came to the door and he was screaming and hollering about Callie yet again. Like, I don't know what the hell he has against Callie, but he got to screaming and hollering about Callie, and we got to arguing, and we kind of tussled a little bit, and I asked him to please leave, and he was like, oh, I know what you're going to do, you're a police calling bitch, you're going to call the police, blah, blah, blah. So he left, and then when I went in the kitchen, Gavin went into my room, and Destiny was laying on the couch watching Netflix, and I came back and sat down and heard a couch shot. What's it?
So now in this story, Antoine had been there, there had been a scuffle, there had been a tussle. He leaves, and in this story, Gavin goes in the bedroom while she's in the kitchen, gets the gun, and then comes back in, and she's just. And then here's her final story. This is the last thing that she tells the police on September 17th of 2019.
Okay. Was Antoine already there when you got home?
The neighbor said he had been there.
And when I said I want you to tell me stuff that you hadn't told me before,
Yeah.
you need to tell me that.
He got out of the car all around.
Okay. Let's keep moving.
And I asked Destiny what she wanted to eat, and he kept trying to interfere. And he don't like her to eat meat. So that was a problem right there. Anything that I do that he could find a problem with is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't want her to eat meat first off, so he started on that shit too. And he just continued to scream and holler and raise his voice. And he went, I thought he was leaving. He went in the living room, so I was like, please leave. But he didn't leave. And I don't know, I felt threatened because I didn't know what the hell he was capable of. I mean, he's beating me to the point where I was unconscious. And I went and got the gun. When I got it, he got it from me.
Where was it?
It was in the black bag on the back door.
It's in the black bag on the back door, and you got it out.
On the back of my bedroom door, yes, sir.
So now we still have, this is Anton, this is Anton's fault. What did she admit? What did she finally admit after blaming everybody else? In this version, she admits that she went and got the gun out of a black bag. Now she still wants to throw in that this is Anton's fault and all this other stuff. But what did we hear yesterday? Anton's not even there. He's not even there. He doesn't have anything to do with this. Here in this version, she finally admits that she's the one that went into the bedroom and got the gun not from the top of the closet, but from her purse. It's on the back of the door. So I want to talk about not just this changing story of who did this, but I want to talk about some other things. And the reason that these things are important together, because what you are going to see and what you've heard in this case is a pattern of blaming other people and not taking any responsibility whatsoever until Ms. Howington is confronted with things that she cannot get away from. And then she finally says that she has some responsibility, just like she did here. She gives all these stories, and it's not till the last story when again, she's not telling the whole truth. But in the last story, she finally says, I'm the one that went in bed when we got the gun. So now we're going to talk about where did the gun come from. And so it's important for her, because again, she knows she's negligent. It's important for her to tell the police that this gun is secure and put away and somewhere where a child shouldn't have access. So her story to the police is that this gun is in the top of the closet. And she gives many versions about how it comes out of the top of the closet that are inconsistent with each other. But she wants them to believe that the gun in her home is in the top of the closet because, again, she doesn't want there to be any responsibility on her part. So let's go through her statements about how the gun came into the room. We heard her last statement about her going to get it. But let's walk through kind of the different statements she gives about this. First,
let's try this. We'll go back to your story because you said he knew where the gun was. So where were you going from there? When you said he knew where the gun was?
Because he came in my room one day when he just showed up and he seen it in the closet when I was getting my clothes out to get dressed.
Okay, so how does that factor into tonight?
That's where he went and got it from.
So you're telling me he went and got that gun and that's the gun he used?
And he put it down after he shot his child. And you picked it up and you took it out to the bush and you've done something possibly with the shell casing.
No, I touched it.
So it's probably somewhere in your house.
So in that statement, she's saying that Anton gets the gun out of the top of the closet. She gives all these details about what's happening surrounding her, and then she changes that. The next thing she's going to say is that her 2-year-old gets a stool from inside of the living room, drags it the whole way through the room to her bedroom, climbs up on the stool, and gets the gun from the top of the closet. Because again, she wants the police to think that she has responsibly secured this gun, that she's put it in the top of the closet. Her kid shouldn't have access to it. That's not true. Here she's saying Gavin gets the gun out of the closet, and that she saw him take the stool across the room and do that.
Just put these slide on here. Okay. You're stronger. You went through and tell us what happened prior to what happened when you encountered your Bloomberg case or Destiny's daddy.
Destiny was laying here. She was watching Netflix. I was sitting here, and Gavin was at beside me. And he was already outside. He came in, and he started screaming out, and we got the flashlight. And the baby got that stool, and we went into my bedroom.
This is still right here.
Yes.
Okay, you want to show me. What was your next name? Before we leave, we'll get a picture of this.
Yes, sir.
Hey, will you move these stools? Is the little bar stool right there? See that little stool? Where are you on the road?
Did you see him moving the stool? Yes.
Did you put that stool back? What's the grid? As a 2-year-old.
Oh, they were here, they were out.
The cookouts will come on. What's the grid? There's no way.
So in this version, she is saying that she saw Gavin get the stool, take the stool to the closet, climb up. I don't suppose she said she saw him climb up in the stool. What he would have had to do is climb up in the stool and get the gun from the top of the closet. That's the walkthrough that happened in September 4th, early of September 15th. And so then we have her come in just a couple days later, September 17th of 2019. Here's what she says. The officer's going to ask her, Did you see him get the gun out of the closet? Move
You
his
saw him
foot?
get the stool, and you're saying you didn't see him get the stool. So, there's
I can make a mistake, correct?
you can make a mistake, but I would think that wouldn't be, a mistake you made right there, right?
And so Detective Wardlaw says to her, you told us before that you saw him get the gun, or excuse me, saw him get the stool, and now you're saying that you didn't. She says, oh, I made a mistake. That's not a mistake. She is lying. And the reason it's important, as I've said before, for her to lie about this is because she knows that the police need to be thinking that that gun is in the top of the closet. That's the only way she's not made. And because of what she says, Gavin has to get measured. Officer Tonkin there, they've got a dummy bear, he's reaching up. He's 45 inches. He's not tall enough to reach a person in the top of the closet. And then what does she say finally? Her last statement to the police. After she's blamed it on Anton, after she's blamed it on Gavin going in the top of the closet, what did she say?
We're arguing, and I got the gun, he got it from me, and John did it.
I got the gun. That's what she says there. I got the gun. Where did the gun come from, ladies and gentlemen? I should probably mention too, September 12th, a couple days before this is part of her story that she's telling. She starts with saying there's this tussle and all this other stuff that's happening with Callie and Anton and her. And finally, this is her final version. She had said before different things, but this is the last thing she says about September 12th.
And so, Callie never pulled a gun.
Right.
That Callie never pulled a gun on Anton. It was her that pulled a gun on Anton. She finally admits that well into this interview, September 17th. How does the gun end up outside? We've heard some of her explanations. I'm going to walk through the litany of things she says about this. First, she's like, what gun? I don't have a gun. I don't have a gun in the house. Watch this.
Did you want a gun? Ever had a gun? It would surprise you if you told you that gun was found outside the house? That would surprise you?
Probably not.
Why not?
Yes, it was.
That would surprise you.
First, she says, no, I don't have a gun. I don't have a gun. That would surprise me. Then she says,
No.
Where's it at?
Wherever you put it.
Callie had a gun.
Outside your house?
I guess that's where you put it.
Callie's the one that put the gun outside the house, is what she's saying. She comes up here on the stand yesterday and wants to say Callie's the one. Callie's the one with the connection. Callie's the one that took the gun in the house. And she didn't bother to look for it. Here she is blaming Callie. What's next?
So, between the time when the shooting happened and you called 911, the police got there, what did you do?
I said, Aaron, how the time, my baby?
You never, went outside or tried to get rid of anything? Because I told you,
No. She never went outside. She never tried to get rid of anything.
I don't know. I guess he's the one that took it outside. I don't know.
She says Anton took the gun outside.
So why did you feel like you needed to take it outside?
I didn't realize that she was shot till after the fact.
And then finally she says she took the gun outside. But here she says, I didn't realize that she had been shot until after I took the gun outside, which we know is not true. Because she's taking the gun outside on the phone with 911. So she's finally admitting that she took the gun outside, but she's still telling lies about how that happened.
I didn't know what to do.
You play that one. You all will have these clips. I'm not going to believe her disappointment. In this version, she says, I took the damn gun.
No.
Said that.
No, sir.
You never got the gun until after you called 911 and you thought that you'd get in trouble for that.
Right.
It's like every day it does this. Every day it does this. Let's see how many we lost this time. Almost 200.
So you're sticking with the fact that...
Put in another ticket.
So here she's saying the gun that's outside is not the gun that was used to kill Destiny, which we know is not true. Then she changes her story, but she's still blaming Anton.
Is that nail the murder weapon? I'm just asking. If it is, tell us it is. If it's the weapon he used now and you took it outside, tell me the truth. Is it the murder weapon? Because I think we've got ballistics, and we're going to be able to take it. I want you to hear it from your mouth. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Do you want this thing?
Yes, if you want to do.
Yes, that's the gun that was used to kill Destiny, but she's still blaming Anton. And I submit to you what she's doing here, and throughout all of these interviews, as I said before, is that she makes up stories, she deflects everything from Robin Howington, and it's not until she is confronted with evidence, or like here, if we're going to do ballistics on this gun, that she finally. The last thing I want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to go through the elements of this offense. You all heard in voir dire that what the state of Tennessee has to prove in this case. We have the burden of proving this case beyond a reasonable doubt. We talked in voir dire about what that means. You all recall we talked about how the state has to prove the elements of the offense beyond a reasonable doubt. And so I want to walk through briefly the elements of the charged offenses in this case. The first offense that the defendant is charged with is felony murder. I anticipate you will hear from the court, and you all will have these instructions back in the jury room. So if you want to take notes, obviously you can, but you will have this information back in the jury room. Is that the defendant or one for whom the defendant is criminally responsible unlawfully killed Destiny Oliver. And two, that the killing was committed in the perpetration of or the attempt to perpetrate the alleged aggravated child neglect. That is, that the killing was closely connected to the alleged aggravated child neglect and was not a separate and distinct and independent event. And then finally, the defendant intended to commit the alleged aggravated child neglect. So those are the elements the state has to prove in this case beyond a reasonable doubt for you all to find the defendant guilty of felony murder. We'll come back to that in just a second, because basically what this is that the state has to show the defendant or someone she's criminally responsible for unlawfully killed Destiny Oliver. And we know that that is the case here. And then also we have to prove the defendant intended to commit aggravated child neglect, and we have to prove the aggravated child neglect. And these are the elements for aggravated child neglect. First, that the defendant knowingly neglected a child, Destiny Oliver, so as to adversely affect her health and welfare. And ladies and gentlemen, the death of this child is an adverse effect on her health and welfare. It could be less. You can have aggravated child neglect where a child is seriously injured and not dead. But obviously, the ultimate adverse effect on your health and welfare is when somebody is deceased. And so clearly that element has been met. That the act of neglect resulted in serious bodily injury to the child. Again, serious bodily injury is defined under the law to include death. And it's undisputed in this case that Destiny Oliver is dead. We have shown you beyond a reasonable doubt that second element. And that the child in this case was 8 years of age or less. And we've heard testimony in this case that Destiny was 5 years old. We heard about the birthday, October, the exact date and the exact day. 5-year-old child. And so the state has proved, in this case, all of these elements. And we're going to ask you to find her guilty of aggravated child neglect. That's the second count. The third count is similar to the second count. She's not going to be punished twice for the same thing. But it's another theory of what happened. And under the law, the first element's exactly the same. The third element's exactly the same. But this time, because there's a deadly weapon involved, we're going to ask you to find her guilty because there is a deadly weapon that was used to accomplish this act, a firearm in this case. The defendant is also guilty of false report. She initiated a report or a statement to law enforcement concerning an offense or an incident within the officer's concern. And so there are many false reports in this case. But we are required to elect for you which specific false report that we're talking about so that we can have a unanimous verdict. And so in this particular case, we're going to ask for you all to focus on her report to Detective Brittle that an unknown male shot her daughter. And we submit to you that that is something that is absolutely false. And the defendant knew the information relating to the offense reported was false. We ask you to find her guilty of that offense. She is also charged with tampering with evidence. Count 4 has to deal with the firearm in this case. So she tampered with the phone, she tampered with the firearm. So count 4, we're dealing with the firearm. Count 5, excuse me, thank you. Count 5, the firearm. The defendant knew an investigation was pending and was in progress, and the defendant concealed the firearm with the intent to impair its availability as evidence in this investigation. She took that firearm. She took it outside.
Oh, I hate it when she shakes her head.
While on the phone with 911. Put that firearm under the bush and then called her friends and asked them to come get it. Barely tampered with it. And then finally, attempted tampering with evidence. We're talking about here the cellular phone. The defendant knew an investigation was pending or was in progress, and the defendant, there's going to be a definition of attempt, and then you're going to have this.
What is happening? Why? Why? Why?
It doesn't have to be premeditated. It doesn't have to be on purpose, intentional. What we have to show is that there was an aggravated child neglect and the child died. And that those things were not separate and distinct. She died because of the neglect in this case. That gun in a place where her child had access to it. So the last thing I want to say to you all before I sit down is that the defendant has gotten up on the stand and she has now given her version, her newest version. After 5 years of this case pending, she has now come up on the stand and given her version of what happened. And I submit to you that even if you take every single thing that she said as the gospel truth, which I don't think it would be unreasonable for you not to do that, but even if you did, if you took everything that she said on this stand as the truth, she has admitted on this stand that there was a gun in her house. In her version of events, she has no idea where it is. And it is left in her house for 2 days in a place that her 2-year-old child could find it in 2 minutes, 3 minutes while she's outside. That's her version that she's telling now. And so again, even if you take everything she says as the gospel truth in this case, she has committed this offense. She is guilty of these crimes. And we're going to ask you all that whenever you go back, look at the evidence, think about how she was acting throughout the course of this investigation. And if you hold her responsible, for her negligence that day and find her.
Thank you. You need 5 minutes? All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't discuss the case yet. You've only heard part of it. Let's take a 5-minute recess and we'll come back and hear Mr. White. All rise for the jury. We ready to line the jury?
This is driving me crazy. I don't know why it's done it. Every time YouTube does this, I put in a thing and I take a screenshot to show it's doing it again. I've seen a couple other people that are having issues, but I don't know why mine does it almost every single day. All right, here we go.
All right, get the jury lined up.
Here we go with defense.
Everyone may have a seat. Wait for the call for the state.
Wait for call.
Mr. Whalen, you are recognized on behalf of Ms. Howington for your final argument.
Thank you. Good morning. I know that at least since Tuesday, you've had notice of talk. I don't want you to hold it against Ms. Howington if that has annoyed you. I got to talk about I'm doing the best I can under the conditions you find me in, which is exactly what this case is about. I told you in opening statement that this is a family tragedy that the state is trying to find a way to make worse. What condition was Ms. Howington in when all this was happening? She told them twice. Once at the house, about 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the discussion there. And again, in that interview room, about 10 minutes, within the first 10 minutes, so she has PTSD. They know she has PTSD. No one's denied that yet. They went to her first, found all the meds. What's this for? It's all PTSD medicine. We talked about this with Lord Iron, and some of you have had personal experience with family members and friends, and talked about how it makes you want to isolate, be quiet. And so what do they say about that? Well, she was quiet. She didn't seem quite as upset as we thought she should. That's what PTSD medicine does. It keeps you from being excited. But they said, that's suspicious. Yeah, it's got to be suspicious because we don't recognize accidents. The hammer has left the room. There's got to be a motive. Not if it's an accident. Well, I guess not if it's an accident. Then in that interview, again, she's not quite as emotional as they think she should be. She says, I'm a little scared. Wardlaw says, your child is dead and you don't want to talk to us. You don't care. She says, not that I don't care. I told you I was raped by a police officer. And in this rapport building exercise that Mr. Riddle was conducting, she got this response.
Are you serious? Your daughter is dead?
I know that.
And you don't want to tell us who killed your child?
No.
Lord have mercy. Do you have a heart? Do you have a soul?
More worried about being charged for throwing that phone in the toilet.
You're fucking right. No, she will be charged. You're going to be charged with tampering. That's tampering with evidence. I'm serious to God. You're going to go to jail for that tonight. You can lawyer up, do what you want to. We want the truth from you. If you tell us the truth, then by George, I'll call the damn DA's office and tell them, hey, what's the slower roll here? But if you're going to sit here and bullshit us on this, then we're not going to help you.
She tells him she's raped by a police officer. Now she's in the room with two police officers, and one of them appears to be insane. That is not a rational act. This is from a man who claims part of his unit's responsibility is investigating rape cases. Would you like to be a rape victim in Mr. Riddle's interview room? Would you wish that on your worst enemy? Now the state's going to tell you that she lied over, she lied. It's made up these stories. You know exactly what she told them and when she told them for the first time another person that Gavin killed Destiny. And it's 15 minutes, 10 minutes maybe after the shooting that she is texting Joey, I need you to come pick up that gun, I put it beside the house. Gavin killed Destiny. So this whole thing comes down to, she just put all those elements up there on the board. Did she knowingly place the gun in a place where Gavin could get a hold of it?
Ladies and gentlemen, you will look to the court for the law. I will instruct you on the law as soon as all the argument is complete. If there is a discrepancy between what the lawyers are telling you the law is and what the court instructs you the law is, the court is who you look to for the law. Go ahead with your argument.
So, the whole incident they show you on the neighbor's video, from the time she gets home with the kids from about 8:42 till 911 calls made at 8:50. We're talking about 11 minutes of this woman's life in the most horrible moments of her life. In this 11-minute span, she did not plan to come home from the park and fix dinner and have her son shoot her daughter. This was not a planned event, so she hadn't thought ahead about how this was going to work. But like we talked about in Voir dire, people with PTSD get triggered. Well, she got triggered. A gun is fired in the house. Her daughter has been shot. She's not allowed to go to the hospital. She's taken in a police car. And play that little snippet for you to say, she's calling Joey and saying, hey, can you do what I asked you to do? Can you do what I texted you? They didn't play the part where she says, oh my God, I hope my baby's okay. God, please let my baby be okay. Please let my baby be okay. Officer, have you heard anything about the condition of my baby? They didn't play that part for it. They didn't stop that when they were doing it with the officer. They say, hey, did you hear that? No, because it doesn't fit their cold, calculating story. And was there any evidence that Robin Howington is a negligent mother? Is he here from DCS to come in here and tell you, oh God, we've had all these problems. Oh, it's horrible. These poor children.
I've never seen this many like objections and like now approaching. I've never seen this in closings before. I'm sorry for those of you who are getting kicked off. It won't even let me log on to my YouTube studio thing anymore. So
in fact, what did the medical examiner's report show? Normally developed, well-nourished child. And let's be honest. You heard a lot of questioning in what are about. Would you leave a child who had been injured? Would you leave a child who'd been injured? Would you leave a child who'd been injured? I shouldn't have to speak these words in front of the Howington, and I apologize. This is a tragedy. The medical examiner told you Destiny couldn't live with that injury for approximately 15 to 30 seconds. That's the reserve oxygen. At that point, her heart's not beating. It's not taking oxygen from the lungs to the brain. Within 15 to 30 seconds, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, she was dead. You've heard the facts. I suggest to you that in the time it took her to see that flash and figure out where the gun was, where Cabot was, where Destiny was, if Destiny was not moving and not responding, Destiny was gone. The 911 call was 3 minutes long. Officers don't arrive for another couple of minutes. God love Officer Brandi. He's the only individual in this government process who can answer Riddle's question, don't you have a heart, don't you have a soul? And he can say yes, because he's got a heart as big as all outdoors. He picks that child up, he carries her outside. He knows she's dead. He's a trained EMT. I talked to him about that. She's got no heartbeat. She's got no breathing. You've got no heartbeat, you've got no breathing, and you're dead. Best he could say, he didn't want to say it on that stand. Through tears, he didn't want to say it. He said, clinically, she was dead. Clinically, she's been dead for a few minutes before he got there. That's just the unfortunate truth. She shouldn't have to relive this because she shouldn't be on trial for an accident. Everything just got up here and told you. We're not saying she wanted the child dead. We're not saying she killed the child herself. We're just holding her responsible for the fact that the child got a hold of the gun. And what were the circumstances leading up to the child getting a hold of the gun? First off, 2 days before, you've been told, and Ms. Howington told them, and they corroborated by speaking to Mr. Oliver from Charlotte Howard. Good to see you again. And to Callie. When they spoke with Mr. Oliver and spoke with Callie, they corroborated the story of what happened on the 12th. Some differences in whether or not who the instigator was. He's at her house. He's angry at Callie. Angry at Callie's there. She asked him to leave. He won't leave. It's the same man who lost her 16-year-old child because she put her in the hospital, and Father Ann got emergency relief and got custody of her child while she was out of consciousness in the hospital due to a beating administered by Mr. Oliver.
I mean,
She told him that.
that's not.
The state's going to tell you, now, they didn't force her to say anything about Antoine Oliver. They didn't make her say that. I'm going to tell you, as far as I'm concerned, 10 minutes and 30 seconds into that interview ended. You can't take a woman who's got PTSD, who's just watched her child be killed in her house in front of her by her other child, jump up and down, yell and scream and cuss at her and tell her she's got no heart, she's got no soul, and then say, let's continue. You think that might have triggered her? Like she needed any more triggering? You think did Robin Howington need for either Mr. Wardlaw or Mr. Riddle to tell her, your daughter's dead? She was well aware of that fact. And I will give Mr. Riddle credit. When he took that stand and I asked him, now, if it was an officer involved shooting, the officer would be given time to review his records, his reports, maybe video. He kind of hemmed and hawed with me for a minute, but he said, okay. Yeah, policy on and off has been 48 to 72 hours to reconcile the facts. This is a trained police officer. A trained law enforcement officer would get 48 hours to 72 hours. He didn't mention anything about an immediate brief statement, like Mr. Wardlaw did. He said 48 to 72 hours to reconcile the facts. This woman, who is suffering from PTSD, who has been at Chuck E. Cheese and then out to the friend's house, and then to the park, and then comes home to feed her children, and then suffers the worst tragedy she has ever suffered, that her son gets hold of the gun and shoots her daughter. She gets questioned immediately at the house. They don't let her go to the hospital where her daughter is. They take her to the hospital an hour after the shooting, about 10:06. The doctor declares her daughter dead, comes into the room and tells her that. 40 or so minutes later, she's in an interview room at KBD. Not 48 hours, 40 minutes later. State just loves those clips. We'll show you those clips. They can play all the videos that existed.
Wait, verdict has been reached? What is that? Oh, I'm not signed in. Dang it. You said verdict reached? Okay, do you want to watch the verdict and then finish this up so we can see it live? We'll watch it so we don't miss it live, and then we can finish listening to that. I can't believe they did that. What? How is it already? It's only a couple hours, right? Less than a couple hours? Hour and a half? What was it? If it kicks everybody off now, I'm going to be so mad.
All rise for the jury.
I figure with that many counts.
Everyone may have a seat. Waive the call for the state or the defense. If you could pass the verdict form up here, please.
Dang.
Mr. Morgan.
I'll just blame poor Lucy. Poor Lucy.
Mr. Martz, I understand you are the foreperson of this jury. Is that correct? Yes, sir. I understand the jury has reached a unanimous verdict as to each of the counts contained within this indictment. Is that correct? Yes, sir. If you would stand, please, sir. Ms. Howington, if you would stand and face the jury. Mr. Martz, as to the first count of this indictment charging first-degree felony murder, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
And that verdict is what, please?
We the jury find the defendant Rebecca Howington guilty of reckless homicide.
As to the second count, alleging aggravated child neglect, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
And that verdict is what, please?
We the jury find the defendant Rebecca Howington guilty of aggravated child neglect.
As to the third count, alleging aggravated child neglect, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
That verdict is what, please?
We the jury find the defendant Rebecca Howington guilty of aggravated child neglect.
As to the fourth count, alleging, initiating, or filing a false report to law enforcement, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
That verdict is what, please?
We the jury find the defendant Rebecca Howington guilty of initiating a false report to a law enforcement officer.
As to the fifth count, alleging tampering with evidence, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
And that verdict is what, please?
We, the jury, find the defendant Robin Rebecca Howington guilty of tampering with evidence.
And as to the sixth count alleging attempted tampering with evidence, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
And that verdict is what, please?
We, the jury, find the defendant Robin Rebecca Howington guilty of attempted tampering with evidence.
If that is your verdict, if you would signify by raising your right hand, please. Let the record reflect all 12 hands are raised as either side wish for the court to poll this jury. All right, Ms. Howington, you may have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your hard work. You have concluded week one of your jury service. I wish I could tell you that you're done, but you're not. You've still got one more week of service. I know that we've got another case to start in here on Monday, so I'm sure I'm going to see a lot of you back on Monday morning when we're picking another jury. Have a very good weekend. Thank you very much for your service, and I'll see you on Monday. All rise for the jury.
Well, no crying now. So, the count one, she's found guilty of reckless homicide.
All right, everyone may have a seat. Ms. Howington, based upon the jury's verdict of guilt finding you guilty in count one of reckless homicide, as well as counts 2 and 3 of aggravated child neglect, count 4 filing a false police report, count 5 tampering with evidence, and count 6 attempted tampering with evidence. The court revokes your bond. You're ordered into custody. When do we need to set this for sentencing? What's 45 days? April 22nd. What day of the week is that? That preceding Friday would be what, the 19th? Does Friday, April the 19th work for everyone for sentencing?
Yes, sir.
Is that good, General? Ms. Howington, I will see you on April the 19th. The court will conduct a sentencing hearing at that time. In the interim, a pre-sentence investigation report will be prepared. Probation will be interviewing you. If you wish to have your attorney present with you when that interview is conducted, you have a right to do so. I'll see you on April the 19th.
Thank you, Dr.
Here she goes, taking her into custody. Look how pretty her curls are. She got fancy hair today. So April 19th will be the sentencing. Crazy. Chrissy Bacon, she knows y'all look at her. R.I.P. Sweet Destiny. Sweet Destiny. Is anybody surprised? It's weird, seeing, I mean, now we're going back to the stuff. While we're not needing to hurry anymore to get through this, yeah, what about the pot roast? Do y'all want to watch, do you remember the trial that I did? I streamed, so the one we watched together for the bar fight. That said, it's Delay. What was his name? that sentencing is today. Do we want to watch that since we are
Well, it was like a son. And if you were...
we can do that before we go back to this if you want to. That one, because that one was one that we watched together. So today is the sentencing. Do you want to watch that? Because it's live, so we can try to catch up to some of that before we finish this one. I know this sound is not... Forgot how big that boy is. Let's get through some of this quicker.
This is the matter of the state versus John DeLay. Counsel, can you please identify yourselves for the record?
DeLay.
Scott Chase for the state, Your Honor.
Rachel Harrington for the state.
Benjamin Faulkner for John DeLay.
Patrick Lario for John DeLay. Good afternoon. And to my right is Judge Kennedy. He is newly appointed, is here until he is going to be sitting in Rockingham County. So thank you very much. I did thank you for your patience. I saw that there was a letter uploaded by you on behalf of your client, which I had a chance to read, and the video I believe that you submitted to Case Line, so I watched that just before coming out to the bench, and I have read both of the sentencing memoranda as well. So
this one was a case of whether or not it was self-defense.
Just for purposes of the record, the state had a witness prepared to testify. An agreement was reached between counsel, so defense had no objection to that video. So I just want to cover that for the record. Thank you. Your Honor, I intend to be brief. From the state's perspective, this is about the victims and their opportunity to address the court and express the grief and the trauma that they've experienced. Obviously, the state has extensively addressed its position in the memorandum, and so I will rely upon that as well as Your Honor's observation of the courtroom, the evidence that came in. The state, would note,
trying to get through the argument stuff. Thank you,
would
Nikki.
contest various aspects and errors within the defendant's sentencing memorandum, but I will save the back and forth on that. But one point I do think that is important is that what the defendant is asking for is a manslaughter. That the jury had an opportunity to consider, and they expressly rejected. This case is a second-degree homicide, not just a reckless homicide, but a knowing second-degree homicide. This is not a case in which the defendant should be sentenced consistent with a manslaughter. The court is well aware of typical manslaughter sentences and comparative homicide sentences. The defendant should be sentenced justly and appropriately consistent with his conviction. Beyond that, Your Honor, happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'd ask for the court's permission for the victims to be heard. Please. Thank you. So first is going to be Alan Pouliot. The monitor has the spellings, Your Honor, and this is Timmy's father.
All right. Good afternoon. This would be my first public speaking. This is the first time that I had to open my heart in front of the courtroom and to the whole world on behalf of Timothy Pouliot, my beloved son. I never thought how hard it was going to be to write an impact statement from my heart for the murder of a barbaric execution of my son Timothy. I would like to say to the court and to the world, I am not here to judge anybody. That's God's job. It's because we all sin and we all fall short of the glory of God. I am so glad that's not my job. I pray that God would give comfort to anyone that is still mourning the death of Timothy. I would like to thank the court and the prosecution for their time and for the amazing hard work and dedication that was done in piecing together the evidence and witnesses that led to the conviction of John DeLay. My beloved son Timothy deserves to be honored and receive justice for his senseless murder by a barbaric execution. I remember that day when I got a knock at the door saying that your son got shot and killed outside on Old Granite Street, right next to Soho, near the Club Go, where he came out of. And when I was told he was shot and killed, at that moment, I didn't have any emotions. That's how much of a shock it was to me. There were a lot of good times that I had with my beloved son, Timothy. I never got to say goodbye to my son. That is the hardest thing that I will have to live with for the rest of my life. I am deeply saddened that I will not be able to make any more happy memories of Timothy. I will never be able to see him again here on earth but I will see him again at the rapture of the church or in heaven when I die. I can't wait for the day. It will be the happiest day of my life. I really wanted to be a part of his wedding. Also, Timothy will be able to see his daughter Arabella get married. Now he can't be a part of her wedding or any special events that will happen in her life. I'm really thankful that the Lord allowed me to see Timothy for the short time before he was killed in an execution-style shootout. It will bother me forever knowing the way that he was killed and why he was killed. My beloved son Timothy was coming over to spend time with us, and I got to see my granddaughter also. Timothy wanted me to sign up to trade with him online. He was helping me sign up, and he traded on my account for me, and he was happy about me trading. That was the last time that I saw him alive. I didn't think this would be the last time that I would be able to talk with him and enjoy his company anymore. That breaks my heart and soul, especially as a dad. Anybody that met Timothy, they fell in love with his positive energy and his passion for life. Was on fire and was inspiring in his selfless love for people. There were some people that said that Timothy changed their lives in many ways. I never thought that one of my children would be the victim of gun violence. Now I know what it feels like. It's like you're having a nightmare. But you can't wake up from this dream. This experience will last a lifetime. Timothy was a very intelligent person. His light shined so bright towards people on social media. He always thought of others before himself. He also helped people, if he could, without asking for money. He never put that righteous light under a lampstand and hide it from anyone. He showed people that what he stood for, and Timothy had a positive future. He could have completed the things that he wanted to achieve to the course of his life. The people he definitely would have blessed with his love, compassion, his selfless acts of love towards people. Timothy had such a gifted soul. I will miss that a lot. Also, his positive ideas and encouragement to anyone he met in person or on social media. Timothy liked helping people. He cared about people. He was also, I was so proud of him when he graduated high school. I am still proud of who he became as a young man who searched after God's own heart. He thought he could help people, even if it endangered his own life. He told me that he was not afraid of dying. Every time I wake up, I think of Timothy and I miss him dearly. All day long, I think of why he had to lose his life. Why him? There's a saying, only good people die young, the ones that make the most impact in society. I wanted to give some of my possessions to my son, Timothy, when it was my time, but I never thought that it would be him, that I would be going to his funeral instead of me. You never thought that you would have to say goodbye to your son and bury one of your loved ones before you. That is the most terrifying thing that could happen to you. How could such a gifted, loving heart die the way he did? It's incomprehensible. My beloved son Timothy will always be in my heart. Timothy will always be a thorn in my heart forever to remind me of how much I really loved my beloved son Timothy and how short of a time that we have with our loved ones. They're here today and gone tomorrow. In 2 Timothy 4, verse 7 through 8, my son Timothy fought the good fight. He has finished the race. He has kept the faith henceforth. There I laid up for me the crown of righteousness. In John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. I will always love you, my beloved son Timothy. You will remain in my memories, in my heart forever. This is to you, John. The message is for you, John, from God. In Proverbs 18 through 5, it says, to do righteous and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. When justice is done, it is joy to the righteous, but terror to evildoers. Proverbs 29:26, it is not good to be partial to the wicked or to deprive the righteous of justice. John, you didn't study the law before you bought your gun, on strict rules of owning a gun, especially about self-defense. Because you neglected it, you are now suffering the highest consequence. John, you destroyed your life when you killed Timothy. What kind of life do you have now? Soon you will be losing your freedom for a very long time because you barbarically executed and murdered Timothy. You had to shoot him 8 times and watch him die for 30 seconds. He had to live. and you watched him drown in his own blood, and then you walked away. You deserve to lose your life. But God is giving you mercy today. You call him Manchester scum. Some people live not so great areas, but they are the most loving and giving people that I ever met. It is not the town you live in, the state, or the country you live in that defines a person. It is your heart, your morals, and what you believe in. It's about the you know what war this country and the freedoms that you have, John. Sacrifice were made so that we could live in a peaceful society. This action you did disgraces the country for all who fought and died to have the freedoms that you have today. You don't deserve any of the freedoms that our forefathers fought. You call shooting somebody in the back self-defense by shooting Timothy and lowering a gun to the ground till he was dead in anger. And you started this whole thing yourself. This senseless execution-style murder is all yours and only yours, John. You not only took him from his family, but you took him from his friends, the community, and online, ones that loved him dearly. So when you decided to buy your gun and use it to recklessly kill Timothy, you didn't have any regard for human life, and also you didn't care about the people around you put in danger. You chose to bring a gun to a bar knowing that when you drink alcohol, it changes your state of mind, of judgment and reasoning when using a firearm. Do you know what it is like to go to a funeral home and see your son lying on a gurney, John? Do you? Deceased, do you, John? I don't think that you have any idea, John, what it's like. It is the most terrifying and hard to go through as a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, an uncle, a nephew, and friends. You destroyed your life for making the wrong decision when you chose to go to a club to party and get intoxicated and not thinking what the consequences would be for using your gun recklessly for the horrendous act of gun violence under the influence of alcohol. So in doing so, you deserve to spend most of your miserable life in prison so you can think about it day in and day out for your actions. But you're going to suffer much more than my son did for your barbaric execution-style murder of my son. When my son died, my son was met by an angel. He is in heaven, now with Jesus. He had eternal life. He was a born-again Christian, by the way, John. My son was saved by Jesus Christ, the one that died for our sins. And this is the only one that can forgive sin. Timothy was considered a righteous man in God's eyes. You did not win over him in this life or in the next life. Timothy has endless joy and happiness in the arms of God. You committed one of the highest sins in the sight of God. This is how to change the hearts of men. In Psalms 51:10, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. In Acts, and God who knows the heart bore witness to them by giving them the Holy Spirit, just as he did to us. And he made no distinction between us and them, having cleansed their hearts by faith. In Romans 6:23, for the wages of sin is death, but the free gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus our Lord. The only way to have that sin forgiven is through Jesus Christ. You must be born again of the Spirit to have your sins forgiven. You have two choices: to accept him as your Lord and Savior, or if you can't open your heart to Jesus Christ, the one that forgives sin, then your sin will not be forgiven. Your sin and you will have to answer for it on the white throne judgment day. That's all you have for choices. It looks like you have to think about that a lot, but don't take too long, John. John, I forgive you for what you have done. I love you, John, and I love your family. I am not angry at you for killing my son. You will not consume my life with hate and unforgiveness. So it says in Matthew 6:14 through 15, for if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. In Romans 12:19, dear friends, never take revenge. Leave that to the righteous anger of God. For the scriptures say, I will take revenge. I will pay them back, says the Lord. Instead, if your enemies are hungry, feed them. If they are thirsty, give them something to drink. In doing this, you will heap hurling coals of shame on their heads. Don't let evil conquer you, but conquer evil by doing good. I'm done.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that input.
Next is Michelle Poulion. This is Timmy's mother.
This is the sentencing for John
my
DeLay.
voice.
DeLay.
Just get over a cold.
Okay.
Sorry.
Take your time.
First of all, I want to thank the court for your time in hearing this case. And I want to thank the prosecution team, Amy, Scott, and Rachel, for the amazing work they did on convicting a murderer and help putting him away. I waited all this time to look you in the eyes and ask you why. Why 8 times? 4 times my son would have forgave you. 8. He was the most loved, caring person you will ever meet. And even if you guys did have a fight that night, he would have walked right up to you, the man he is. He would have said, I forgive you. But you didn't. You didn't. You looked at my son as he was suffering, laying there on the ground. You white scum. White man, just white trash. He was by far white trash. I remember it like it was yesterday. Friday evening, I left work. I came home, and my son and granddaughter were there. My son asked me, Mom, can you watch Hair Ballad for a while? And I said, absolutely. I would never turn down my granddaughter. And there was some reason that night, my granddaughter did not want my son to leave. I don't know what it was. She was hanging on to him. She was just screaming and crying. He wasn't going to go out. But I said, Bud, she'll be fine. You never get to go out. You always work. A couple hours ain't going to be anything bad. He walked up to me, and he gave me a hug and said, Mama, I will be fine. And I said, please stay safe. But every day, in my heart, I regret that I didn't say no. I have so much guilt that if I had only said no to him, he would still be alive. When I got that knock at that door Saturday from Amy and the detective, I knew they weren't coming to have coffee. And I knew exactly what they were there for. So I ran up in my room and I didn't want to hear it. So I made my husband go down there and talk to them. And he came back and said, yes, he was killed in a shootout outside the goat last night. And when I found out the way that he was murdered, you are a killer. You will always be a murderer, a killer. You executed a kid that was way smaller than you. Almost 200 pounds lighter. You could have whipped his butt. But you're a coward. You took the easy way out. All over a girl. A girl. To see the pain in my son, Brendan's eyes. Because him and Timothy were Irish twins. They were acceptable together. They did everything together. And to see him mourning in a pain, in his heart, and there was nothing I could do to make it better. When I gave birth to my daughter, I always wanted my complete family. Married 31 years, 2 kids, call it a day. I tried like anything to give birth to another child. And they told me, no, Michelle, you are not going to be able to have any more kids. I had 5 miscarriages. So in my eyes, Timothy was my miracle baby. And that's why he was so kind. He was so loving. He loved anyone. To have 400 people at his funeral. 400 people, John, at a funeral. The funeral home didn't even understand how so many people, and then they kept coming. I had his grade school teachers reaching out to me. Told me that Timothy was a major big deal. He used to go and take 12-year-old kids off the streets and teach them Taekwondo for absolutely free. For why? Discipline? Respect for elders? Well, maybe that's what you lacked, was discipline. And to see 4 12-year-old boys look me in the face and crying their hearts out and saying, it's not going to be the same without Timothy. John, out of this whole trial, you haven't shown one bit of emotion or feeling bad for what you did. I get it. Alcohol plays a big factor. Alcohol and guns do not mix. And good question. How'd you get into the club with a gun? I guess that's mysterious too. After you shot my son 8 times, you stood right there and called my son as he was laying there drowning, not after asking him for help or calling 911 or trying to give him CPR. You called him Manchester scum. And you don't think that you deserve the rest of your life in jail? Yes, you do. You should. But I'm asking you to your honor to give him the max, because I'll make a deal with John. You can have 30 years out of jail if I can have my son back. Is that possible, John? Can I have my little boy back? No. I got a granddaughter that is not going to be able to see her daddy walk her down the aisle. She's not going to have a father-daughter dance. My son Brendan will have to stand up in that place and be there, and we will all be there. But John, I forgive you. I forgive you, because I will not have you consume my life. I do not. I know alcohol played a big part in that night, and I want to do your anger too. I feel bad because if the tables were turned and your mom was standing there, I would be bawling because I'd be in so much shame of what my son did. That's why my son was liked by everyone. He would rather a friend, if they decided to fight at a club, they would turn around and go, okay, you lost. Jake, you buy the next drink. That's what he was about. No, not knowing the kid who was 200 pounds lighter than you. You put 8 bullets in him because you couldn't take him. You're that much of a wimp. You're going to big boy prison now, Pete. Wait till you see what happens there. This is real time now. And I know you have some regret. I know you do. And that's the only way I can forgive you. As I said, if I could look you in the face and see that you actually did not mean what you did that night, then I would forgive you. And yes, I do. I do forgive you. Just take this time. Learn from your mistakes. And I'm sure your family's going through it too. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, this is my son, John. John, look at my son. That's where I get to look at my boy.
Your Honor, Timmy's daughter's grandmother.
To John's family, I am truly very sorry for all the heartache you are going through. 2 young boys lives ruined because of one senseless mistake. John, I know what you did must have been an impulsive act, but you took away a kind and gentle person. I am sorry you made such a poor choice at such a young age, but you killed an amazing father to a wonderful little girl. Timothy documented every single thing this beautiful baby did from the day she was born. He videotaped everything from taking her first steps to learning how to drink from a water fountain. Timothy only wanted a family life. Arabella was his world. Even though he and Kiara weren't together at the time, Timothy was positive that in the end there would be a little family. That's all he ever wanted. Timothy was very spiritual and a great motivator. He taught Bella to say grace before dinner, to be thankful to God, and would be inspirational to my other grandchildren who looked up to him as a mentor. These 2 grandchildren are now on antidepressants and attend a grief counseling program designed for children. The freshman has been failing school ever since. Out of the blue the other day, Arabella started meditating, something Timothy did frequently, and something he was teaching my grandson to do to ease his mind. The person I feel most sorry for is Arabella. She lost her father, her daddy, her dada, the one man who would love her more than anyone else in the world, the one who she could always turn to but no longer can. I have 2 grandchildren, I have 2 children, 8 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. Timothy became part of our lives for 6 years and was like my grandson, my 9th. He always called me Grandma and always appreciated everything I did for him. He wrote me little notes of thanks all of the time. The last one said, I just want to thank you for everything you do for me and especially Bella. I'm so thankful to have you in my life. I love you, Grandma. Timothy. I always think, am I going to go through life being lucky enough with nothing happening to my children. I was not. I have lost a lot of people very close to me, but Timothy has made the biggest impact. I cry at just the mention of his name, so senseless. John DeLee, you took away a beautiful ray of light. At least you're alive. Timothy is not. There is light at the end of your tunnel. Our light has gone out. We love you, Timothy, and miss you every single minute of every single day. Thank you.
Your Honor, next is Kiera McKenzie. This is Arabella's mother.
Yeah, I might need him. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Kiara McKenzie. I am Timothy's former partner of 5 years and mother of Arabella Pouliot. I want to start on that cold January morning. I was sleeping. My phone started going off. Tons of missed messages and missed calls. When I came to, I finally understood the words I'm reading. Timothy's been shot. Instinct kicked in, and I finally comprehend the words I'm reading. Everyone at the hospitals said no one under that name had been admitted. With nowhere to turn, I called the police station, praying. The only words spoken to me were me. Do you have any information regarding a shooting at the Goat in Timothy Pouliot? Receiver, are you able to meet right now or come to the station? Me, I'm on my way right now. On my way, I had passed the Goat, not knowing the news I would be told not even 20 minutes later. The world stopped. Emotion hit like a tsunami. And within hours of dawn, multiple families were shattered. As quickly as it happened, having to plan happened quicker. I vividly remember we had all arrived at the funeral home to start coordinating and making final decisions. Fear set in faster than any set of grief and peace could. We were all receiving death threats from anonymous users online, having to scurry in for our safety and sending Arabella away safely. Trying to make the toughest decisions in my life with an unsettling sense of insecurity, hoping nothing would happen to Arabella, my family, and Timothy's family. In the beginning, I was advised to write down these small, hard moments I would relay in this statement. I cannot tell you how an unspoken, loud, happy, and outgoing person like me became numb, empty, and angry and alone. I was speechless for the first time in my life. The first few months were foggy, hard for me to look back on. I lost myself to a dark place, resulting in emptiness and burnt bridges. One of my never-ending thoughts will always be why. I do not have that answer truly, and may never know. I've asked this question a number before. I've suffered from 8 important people in my family past in the last 15 years. Death is not foreign to me. I face death in the face of my own loved ones. Every one is difficult, but this one is deeper. Not understanding eats you from the inside out, alive. After a while, I was here on Earth, but not in reality. I found myself going to the Goat and Soho, finding the spot and I'd lay on the ground and try to understand, what did he last see, hear, think. I remember going out of town for my birthday that March because I felt consumed by my emotions and environment. I remember letting go of Timothy's 21st birthday balloons in April and pouring him a drink. The worst memory is setting up a chair for Arabella's 3rd birthday in May and putting a sweatshirt, sweatpants over the chair, his shoes at the feet, and balloons tied to the back, just so he could be there at his daughter's birthday. This isn't all about me, either. I speak on behalf of our daughter. She adored him. Many people told me in the beginning, she's too young, she will forget. Or another, she is too young, she won't remember. To this day, she still tells me she loves and misses her daddy or dada. Just goes to show how strong a bond can be, and no little the person's age cannot just be forgotten. Timothy was a loving, energetic, and fun dad. He wanted to give Arabella a world kids dream of. With his short time on Earth, she did get to experience those brief, pure moments that only a child and a parent can bond over. Core memories. He made these in photos, videos, and reels he took, recording them at the park, playing, a field, learning sports, and running around. Timothy installed floors. When we got an apartment, he installed a pink carpet just for her princess room. He constantly would talk about her and everything he wanted them to do. Because he recorded many moments as a proud father, he made an Instagram to show friends and family how smart and beautiful she was, posting her growth and development. Timothy started making motivational, fitness, and lifestyle videos on social media. He was inspiring a network of people in many different areas of life. Parents, old friends, and new ones were now invested in learning, absorbing his stories. When the news spread, many in the community were affected deeply. Timothy was spreading inspiration and hope in our young adult community. I had many friends and strangers showing me the inspirational and thoughtful messages he would send them. Some across country. He would check on a lot of his friends daily. In the previous week, before the incident, a mutual friend of Timothy and I came to me and told me Timothy was talking about Arabella on his night off. Timothy came to me and told me Timothy was at the same bar and would not stop talking about Arabella on his night off. He was a devoted father, and I thank him deeply for stepping up to the plate through all the tough times and putting Arabella first. I also want to thank a courageous young woman, Sarah Buttersworth, for sharing the last moments of Timothy's life with him. I remember praying he wasn't alone when this tragedy struck, and an angel was near. But as much as I'm grateful, I realize this is something traumatic for not only those involved, but for anybody that was nearby. The impact on the onlookers, the video that spiraled like wildfire, covering social medias internet-wide. This caused a devastation for our families, knowing sentimental, sensitive footage was at anyone's grasp. As an elementary and/or middle school kid. You and your friends may find it funny to search your name on Google, maybe a friend's name or family. For my daughter, it will not be that. The first and most chilling for a mother is unionleader.com states, 2-year-old daughter of Manchester murder victim. In quotations, I want my daddy. My daughter's words. The second from Patch reads, family devastated and seeking answers after senseless shooting. A third from Yahoo News repeats the first article. And the last, her father's obituary. There are things, as a mother, you cannot provide, like a father. I will not be able to fill that void or satisfy that longing. Unfortunately, I am missing a page. Am I able to verbally continue what I remember? Anything over there? That's what I figured. Oh, you have it. Thank you. Okay. When I have never felt a deeper sadness to not be able to provide her with answers. Answers I don't have myself. I wanted to hate you, John. I wanted you to experience the unthinkable. But every time I was brought back, I would think about my daughter and how at a young age I became a mother. And it's a feeling unlike any other. Just like my daughter, you are a son. I see you, although we're the same age, in a way your mother sees you. I knew I had two choices within myself, to love or to hate. I choose not to hate you, John. I choose to be compassionate for myself. I will forever be missing a selfless, loving soul, my daughter's other half taken in a flash. I wish peace on our families, Timothy's soul, and even you, John. I pray for forgiveness from you one day. But ultimately, I choose to let the evidence speak loud and clear for itself. I choose to let God decide. I choose to pray for justice. I hope my words resonate with everyone listening, and we all have peace and love throughout what's next to come. My name is Kiara Mackenzie. Thank you for your time.
Our next is Tammy Greenoff, who is a close family friend.
Good afternoon. My name is Tammy Carino. On January 28th, two lives and two families changed on your choices that you made that day. I don't know what or why you did what you did. I'm sorry.
Take your time.
I don't know why, or I don't know what was going on with you that day and why you had to carry a gun with you. I looked at your pictures on your Facebook, and it showed that you were a football player, and it looked like you had a lot of things going good for you. You had it seemed like you had a good life. You had a great things in your life that I saw. Sorry. In your life, you could have went to college. You could have married, had kids. You might have that chance when you get out, if you get out. But that day you changed two families, yours and Timmy's. Timmy had a job, a child, a future that was bright, and he was a mentor to young generations. His smile was like a sun, and if you were down, he would brighten your day, brighten you up. I had more, but as people spoke previously, if I can pick out each little messages from them, that's how I feel. Timmy was like a son to me. I watched him grow up. He brought my daughter to prom. I got pictures of him. And that day when my daughter and him were going to the prom, I said, Timmy, come over here. I need a picture with you. And I have that picture on my phone. That's the only picture I have of him and me together. You took a good person for something horrendous that night that you did. Like everybody said, guns and alcohol don't mix. And I don't know why you would have a gun in a bar. I do agree. I do forgive you, John. I'm a Catholic. I hated you at the beginning. And hate is a harsh word. I feel bad for your family. I don't understand. But your family can see you. We can't see Timmy. Timmy is gone. Your family can hear your voice, share memories. We can't share anything. That little girl is growing up without a father. No first dance with father-daughter dance. And like everybody said, weddings. A father's supposed to walk their daughter down the aisle. That little girl won't have a father. But she does have a loving family that will help her and support her on that day and many days. John, I do forgive you. I don't hate you, but I wish you had I wish you could have used your head and think before you reacted on that night. You changed many, many lives that night. Not only, like I said, not only for Timmy's, but yours and your family. They could come and visit you. But I have that picture to visit my Timmy. When I want to think about him. And I do think about him all the time. Thank you.
Our next is Ayla Baramovich.
My name's Courtney. I'm an advocate with the AD's office speaking on behalf. After witnessing the shooting, my emotional well-being has been severely impacted, and I am struggling to cope with the trauma and fear that has consumed me. Witnessing what happened back in January of 2023 has had an impact on me both physically and mentally. The physical effects of the traumatic event manifest through feelings of muscle tension and numbness. Mentally, I have been scarred by the thoughts, flashbacks, and difficulty sleeping. The overwhelming sense of fear and helplessness that accompany the experience have left me with a lasting imprint of my overall well-being. I am still seeking understanding, support, and healing as I navigate through the effects on my mental health.
And lastly, Your Honor, a close family friend, Michelle Griffin.
Timmy and my son Anthony met in the 6th grade, and Timmy quickly became a member of our family, so much so that to him, I was a second mother. Timmy and Anthony had a bond like brothers, and they were almost inseparable up until shortly after they graduated high school, when Anthony went overseas with the Marines. However, their brotherly bond remained strong, even as they began to navigate different journeys as young adults. To say that Anthony and I are devastated by Timmy's death would be an understatement. An article I've recently read stated that coping with loss challenges the most resilient, and I immediately understood why. The fact of the matter is that so many people's lives never recover from the anguish caused by a loss, especially one as tragic as this. Sitting in the courtroom through the trial, I could feel the intensity of the suffering endured by loved ones. My heart aches for everyone who has been affected, and that includes the DeLee family, who in a different way lost someone too. The effects of this tragedy also extend well beyond the people in this courtroom. There is a little girl whom Timmy loved more than anyone. Although she is still too young to fully comprehend that she will grow up without her father, this has certainly affected her and will continue to do so for the rest of her life. I have no doubt that I'm not the only person in this room who had hopes this was all just a nightmare from which we would wake up to find our loved ones safe and at home, or who even now wishes we could go back in time and alter what happened that fateful night. Sadly, there are instances when the consequences of our actions, our choices, are irreversible. Timmy is no longer with us, and that has been our new reality. Even though we in some ways struggle every day with this new reality, Anthony and I are committed to continuously finding positive, healthy ways to commemorate Timmy's memory. John, please know that Timmy wasn't Manchester scum. He was so much more and was loved by so many people. He was funny and inspirational. He wasn't perfect, no one is. But he was a good person and had a beautiful heart and soul. He put a great deal of effort into trying to achieve his goals for both himself and his daughter. He had so many dreams and aspirations, as seen here through his vision board. In addition to working towards financial independence, marriage, a family, he also desired a home, to travel, and to break generational curses. I often look at his vision board, aware that if he were still living today, he could have achieved many of these dreams and aspirations. However, it also quickly brings to mind the haunting fragility of life. Like with all of us, life wasn't always easy for Timmy, but he was always thankful for his life. In fact, you will hear the words from Timmy himself. Timmy would frequently leave messages for Anthony when Anthony was not available to take a call. This is a message that Timmy left 2 or 3 weeks prior to his death.
It's on my phone. Let's put it close.
Hey, bro. You know, I gotta take everything I learned for these past years of positive thinking, building that bulletproof mindset, and I just gotta apply it now for times like this, bro. I can't let myself fall back. I can't let myself, fall into those habits again of just, not taking care of myself. And now that I have a daughter, bro, I just gotta keep moving forward, bro. And I really appreciate you guys, and I appreciate everybody in my life that, really cares about me, and that's really showed me that through actions that they care, And I'm just so thankful that I have God in my life and that I'm blessed with everything I have, bro. It could be totally worse, and yeah, I'm still here. I have money, I have food, I have a shelter, I have a beautiful daughter, and I have wonderful friends, bro. So, that's what I'm holding on to, and I'm just gonna keep pushing forward.
That's the end of this presentation.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The sentencing in a murder case, I think, is always all murder.
I said do that every once in a while. It's the feed.
Here than in every case. It's acts Mr. DeLee recognizes He can never. A terrible error in judgment.
Oh, come on.
Error. A number of, but the error is still his, and Your Honor has to determine what is a sentence that is sufficient but not greater than necessary, not to correct that error because we can't, but to ensure that he's properly punished, to ensure deterrence, both specific and general, and to ensure rehabilitation. I would submit that the sentence that has been requested by the defense is sufficient but not greater than necessary to meet those aims. The state has characterized that as a request for a manslaughter sentence. I don't think that's necessarily accurate. The state is looking for a sentence that is the maximum that essentially Your Honor can give in a murder case, but the murder statute provides for lesser sentences. This would be the maximum sentence that could possibly be imposed in a manslaughter case, but that doesn't make it in and of itself a manslaughter sentence. It's a substantial sentence. The minimum sentence that's being requested by the defendants would be 15 years and the maximum 30. Were he to do the max, we're talking about getting out in his 50s. Otherwise, we're still talking about him getting out well into his 30s. That's the kind of time frame. It's an extraordinary period of time, and it certainly cannot compare to, obviously, to the loss that the Pouliot family has. They don't ever have their son back. But we're talking about all of Mr. Delee's basically central forming years of early adulthood will all be gone under whether it's the state sentence or the defendant sentence that we're talking about. And those are years that hopefully he will be able to use so that he's able to have his brain in a position that it's not making decisions like that. We don't typically have these kinds of errors being, errors in judgment being made by people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. And it's not youth alone. It's not alcohol alone. It's not peer pressure alone. It's all of those things that coalesced in this case. I just want to briefly touch on the state's requested aggravating factor of a lack of remorse. Your Honor has had a chance to read Mr. Delee's statement. Mr. Delee doesn't have an extensive education. He has a high school education. And in my dealings with him, he doesn't use a lot of words. He's not extremely communicative. But he really worked hard on the few words that he did provide to the court. He spent a lot of time, even though we're talking about just that one paragraph, he spent a lot of time on it. As to the incident that Your Honor watched the video, it's not lost on me that occurred approximately within 12 hours of his learning of the state sentencing recommendation in this case. And he's a little bit older than he was at the time of the homicide in this case, of the murder in this case. But he's still a pretty young man and under a great deal of stress. The other thing I would note about the incident in the jail is, I know Your Honor has had a chance to watch the video, but the state did provide some update to defense counsel during the day. The officer who had spoken to the Manchester police detective that is quoted in the state's addendum to the sentencing memo did make clear that it was basically it was an error to have described Mr. Delee as the primary aggressor, and that it appeared to be more of a mutual combat situation. And having read some of the police reports or investigative reports provided by the state, I would also point out that the other person that was involved in the fight essentially took responsibility for having began the altercation. Quote, he said, "I took an extra tray, so I showed him what's up," end quote. And that's the statement of the other person that was involved in that incident in the jail. I don't want to belabor that. I just point out that I think that's, again, an incident where we're talking about a massive amount of stress, and clearly Mr. DeLee does not handle stress very well. But what he does have is the support and in a number of ways of a wide range of family members and friends who are going to be there as a support system whenever he is able to get out of jail, if he's ever able to get out of jail. And that kind of support system is also important because whenever Mr. DeLee is able to get out of prison, it's going to be important that he have all the support necessary so that he's able to be a law-abiding citizen once he gets out of the prison. And he has a lot of that support system there. I know, if I could have just a moment, I believe Mr. DeLee has a few words and just a very few, but they're just in supplement to his letter. If I could just have one moment. If Mr. DeLee could address the board.
Of course.
Your Honor, I just want to say I'm sorry.
You don't, Mr. DeLee, I don't mean to interrupt. You don't have to bend over.
I just want to say I'm sorry to Timmy's family and the court and my family too.
And with that, Your Honor, I have nothing further.
Did you have any rebuttal or response?
No, I was going to say no, Your Honor.
Yeah, can I just see counsel briefly at the bench?
Yes, this one, I streamed this one, so this one is available. There's a playlist for this one. It wasn't super long. Are you taking a break? They've got the pictures. Timothy. Hold the vision, trust the process. A quote by Timothy. All right, so now we're live. I guess they're let me make sure. I thought they're taking a break for the judge to look and then coming back. But
All rise, please.
But he may have already done it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, they just sent him out. Let's see if it says anything. Oh yeah, court is in a brief recess. So they're going to come back and sentence him. We'll watch them sentence. We'll watch the sentence live. I wanted to make sure they didn't say anything while we were gone. So while we're waiting on them to come back. So this trial ended fast. This one was only a week. Like the whole trial and the verdict by lunchtime on Friday. That's kind of crazy. So let's talk about for next week. Nikki, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Big day. So for next week, there's a couple different options. We have a couple options. I know a lot of people are still asking, like I've had in my inbox and stuff, I've had people still asking for Crumley. I haven't looked to see what else is starting next week. I know we have like a couple hearings and stuff to cover. I think Bryce Rhodes gets sentenced on Wednesday. There's a Karen Reed hearing on Tuesday. But other than that, I don't have any trials set for next week. So, if any of you know of any that you want to see, let me know. Otherwise, I can look some this weekend. But I have had people asking for the Crumley one. Today is day 2 in Crumley, right? So if we did that one, we could speed trial through yesterday and today during, like maybe do that on Sunday. Oh, I don't have to start late on Monday now. I forgot. So we could maybe do some of it Sunday and then the rest of it Monday. Gosh, I have so much more time now. Yeah, the bathtub murder trial started this week, so we could do that one. It wouldn't be live, but we could do that one. Let's see what else we got. The bathtub one. I didn't watch the other Crumley trial. Jenny, happy anniversary. So happy to be a part of this lovely group. I'm delighted you're finished your treatments. Yes. You have this, such a warrior. Thank you so much, Jenny. Happy 7 months. Happy 7 months. Bathtub. Most of y'all are saying bathtub. Yeah, we could do that one. I don't want to do another kid one next. I need a break from kids. Got a hair in my mouth. Grizzly is covering the bathroom. The sound is shocking. Why is the sound shocking? What do you mean? Yeah, I'm not. You know, I have to like be in a space and like prepare myself to do the kid ones. That's why like I could not do. I didn't even watch the one for Adam Montgomery. I didn't even watch it. I know that, you know, at some point I probably will, but I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't in the right space to be able to watch that one. So we did this one, but I don't want to do another kid one right now. Plus we have Chad Daybell starting in a few weeks, and you know, that one has kids too. Had to grab lunch. What was the verdict? Guilty of reckless homicide and all of the other things. All of the other things. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. I can't wait for Dumbbell's trial either. You know, the Lori Vallow trial was the first trial that I actually streamed. Before that, I had only done like the trial recap videos and stuff. So I feel like now we'll get, you know, kind of like, not full circle because all of their trials aren't gone, but, or not over, but. Sarah Boone is never going to make it to trial. Oof. They moved Chad to January. I just pulled his stuff, like, when did they move that? Prosecutors filed this is what I read. I just read this yesterday. Prosecutors filed a series of motions this week and asked for an expedited hearing because the trial is scheduled to start on April 1st. Filings include a brief in support of excluding a defense expert in relation to a recording of Summer Shiflett. One to exclude Shiflett recording and Prosecutor Wood as a witness, and a motion seeking to introduce a statement from Tammy Daybell. I read that yesterday. Fahmy was in court yesterday trying to get a new trial. We watched that. We watched that yesterday morning. Chad Doerman is scheduled for July 8th. My friend who found out that, my college roommate that found out that her friend murdered her husband and buried him under the fire pit where they roasted marshmallows, that one is scheduled finally for September. I just got an email um, So, True Crime Ranch just sent an email. And a gift card. It says, because you rocked this treatment with style and grace, we want to put a smile on your beautiful face. You didn't let us see the ugly stress and never made us feel like less. Use this card for what you please. Just know that we think you are the bee's knees. Hashtag Flowergate 2024. Thank you. That's so sweet. That's really cute. That's so funny. Thank you so much. Y'all are the sweetest. Thank you, thank you. Legally Blonde. Oh gosh, the thumbnail. If y'all are in our Facebook group, join the Facebook group so you can see it. What, if anything, should I add to the final Howington thumbnail? Flowergate 2024. Hard to keep a secret between that many. I'm surprised y'all are able to keep secrets like that. Normally, there's a weak link somewhere. Sugar Ranch, it's from my adoring fans. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Y'all are very generous. Y'all are so sweet. Pillow's mom, Flowergate 2024, Bee's Knees 2024. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. I still never found out who the chair was from. I'm pretty sure I know, and she doesn't want to tell me because she asked me about my chair and if it was comfortable because she noticed me shifting and stuff. And I won't call her out because I'm pretty sure she's in here right now. Let me see if she's in here right now. Yep, she's in here right now. So I won't call it out. I mean, I wouldn't even if you weren't in here because even when you're not, you're always on replay crew. So I won't call it out, but I'm pretty sure I know who it's from, and I appreciate it. Don't tell BB anything. She'll rat you out every time. Well, they did a good job not telling Big a bit. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Huge shout out for Cajun. Huge shout out for Cajun. Cajun does so much. So much. Flowergate 2024. I appreciate it, y'all. Flowergate, Chairgate, Bee's Knees Gate.
In part with the defense's explanation. Well, let me back up 1-7. One thing I took away from the remarks here today is the repeated question about why. Why did this have to happen? And I don't think anyone will ever know that for sure, but I think I have some insights into having watched this trial and having thought about this case a lot that explain what happened here and why this happened. And I agree in part with Attorney Faulkner's explanation that Timmy's murder was the result of a fatal combination of youth and alcohol, and of course that's an important consideration. But I think that's only part of the story, and I don't actually even think that's the biggest part of the story or explanation for what happened here. What happened in this case is that Timothy Pouliot wouldn't back down when he was confronted by a bully, namely you. He had the audacity to stand up to a man who was literally more than twice his size, and who, because of his size, was used to getting his way. And he had the gall to talk to your ex-girlfriend, and he had the gall not to back away when you confronted him the first time in that bar. And when he and his friends went back over to your ex-girlfriend and started bragging to them, that was too much for you. And that's when the physical confrontation began to escalate. And when Timmy's friend hit you, you flew into a rage. There was no doubt you were spoiling for a fight, and you were not going to let these three guys get the better of you. And just like a bully, you hid behind a gun. And just like a bully, you put an end to Timmy's life by putting 8 rounds into him to show people that no one was going to stand up to John DeLee and live to tell that tale. And if I had any doubt about your acts being motivated by that bullying, all of that doubt was erased by your conduct just 2 days ago at the jail. What I saw on that video is absolutely the acts of a bully. Someone stood up to you, someone had the audacity to take your breakfast, a shrimp, a small guy who could live on snacks. And no one was going to stand up to John DeLee. And he got what he had coming to him, and you beat the heck out of that guy. And every school kid knows that bullies need to be punished to put an end to bullying. And your conduct deserves harsh punishment, and it deserves a significant sentence, both for specific deterrence, so that you finally get the message that someone is going to stand up to John DeLee and not take it anymore, and general deterrence that this kind of behavior is completely and utterly unacceptable. By all accounts, Timmy Pouliot was a kind-hearted person, and you put an end to that life. Frankly, I don't believe the show of remorse. Certainly your words in the immediate aftermath of this shooting show what you thought of him, that white Manchester trash, or whatever the words you used were. But even the letter you wrote to the court today or yesterday, just recently, show that there's no true remorse here. Not once in that letter do you say, "I'm sorry I killed Timmy." Instead you say, "I'm very sorry for what happened," as if it's the acts of some other person, not your responsibility, that ended his life. And for all of those reasons, the court does not find that the mitigating factors of youth and alcohol outweigh the aggravating factors in this case that warrant a significant sentence. Now, with all that said, I have not adopted the state's recommendation, and I have not adopted the defense's recommendation. I've crafted a sentence here that accomplishes the goals that I've explained in my remarks, but I've also crafted a sentence that's going to give you some opportunity to still have a life in front of you that is more than Timmy Pouliot had. Obviously, he's deceased, who will never have, I should say. And so the sentence I'm imposing in this case on the charge of knowing second-degree murder is that you are sentenced to the New Hampshire State Prison for not more than life, no less than 27 years. You have 406 days of pretrial confinement credit, and there is 150 days added to each year of the minimum portion of the sentence to be prorated for any part of the year. That sentence is stand committed, and it begins immediately. Restitution is not ordered in this case because it has not been requested, and court-appointed counsel fees have been waived. You are, as part of this sentence, though, eligible for earned time credit. So that means that you can have up to, I believe it's 24 months of both the minimum and maximum portion of the sentence reduced for approved programming, dealing with issues, counseling, anger management, and other issues that will help with rehabilitation once you're released. You are required as part of this sentence to participate meaningfully in all counseling, treatment, and education as required. You're prohibited from having any contact with the Pouliot family, and of course you have to be of good behavior. On the reckless conduct charge, this is, I have to say, obviously not as nearly close as serious, but it is not an insignificant conviction either. And I think we heard today input on that point, and the number of people outside that bar, it's a miracle no one else was hurt in this incident. So the sentence I'm imposing reflects that as well, and that you are sentenced to the state prison for not more than 6 years, no less than 3 years. The sentences also stand committed and will be served consecutive to the sentence I just imposed. As with the last sentence, court-appointed counsel fees are waived. The conditions, though, of this sentence are that if you have if you commit no crimes, state or federal crimes, or have any major disciplinary infractions at the prison or other place of employment for a period of 15 years, starting today, for 15 years, then this sentence, both the minimum and maximum, will be suspended in its entirety. So this is designed to give you the incentive to be of good behavior, to not do what you just did 2 days ago at the jail, and to obviously not have any other major disciplinary infractions. The other conditions, so if this sentence is suspended, it would be suspended for a period of 10 years from the date of the so you will have to file an application to demonstrate to the court that you've complied with this condition. If the court grants that, then it will be suspended for a period of 10 years from the date it is granted. And if it's suspended, the conditions were, again, meaningful participation in counseling, treatment, and education required by parole, no contact with the Pouliot family, and, of course, good behavior. Do you have any questions about the terms of the sentences? The clerk will read to you your notice of your right to seek sentence review.
John DeLay, you are hereby notified that you have the right to apply for the review of the state prison sentence imposed on you today, March 8th, 2024. The application may be filed within 30 days after the date of the sentence, but not thereafter except for good cause shown. If you file such an application, your sentence will be reviewed by a board of 3 members who will be either judicial referees and/or superior court judges. Review of the sentence may result in a decrease or increase of the minimum or maximum term within the limits fixed by law, or there may be no change in the sentence. A form for making application, if you wish to do so, is set forth on this notice. And the state also has the right to apply for sentence review and can obtain an application for that from the clerk's office if they so desire.
Mr. DeLay is remanded back to the custody of the sheriff, and the court is in recess.
Hang in there, dog. All right. Keep your head up, Jen.
We'll see you soon.
And Ben, you'll.
I think that having the fight in jail really screwed him on that. So 27 to life plus a consecutive, what do you say?
State prison for not more than life, no less than 27 years.
27 to life.
406 days of pretrial confinement credit, and there is.
So 27 to life. So 27 to life with 406 days credit.
There's 150 days added to each year of the minimum portion of the sentence to be prorated for any part of the year. That sentence is stand committed, and it begins immediately. Restitution is not ordered in this case because it has not been requested, and court-appointed counsel fees have been waived. You are, as part of this sentence, though, eligible for earned time credit. So that means that you can have up to, I believe it's 24 months of both the minimum and maximum portion of the sentence reduced for approved programming, dealing with issues, counseling, anger management, and other issues that
so you can get up to 2 years taken off
rehabilitation once you're
for
released.
Doing different
You are required as part of the
programs.
sentence to participate meaningfully in all counseling, treatment, and education as required. You're prohibited from having any contact with the Pouliot family, and of course you have to be of good behavior. On the reckless conduct charge, this is, I have to say, obviously not as nearly close as serious, but it is not an insignificant conviction either. And I think we heard today input on that point, and the number of people outside that bar, it's a miracle no one else was hurt in this incident.
The sentence I'm imposing reflects that as well, and that you are sentenced to the state prison for not more than 6 years, no less than 3 years.
Yeah, 3 to 6.
The sentences also stand committed and will be served consecutive to the sentence I just imposed. As with the last sentence.
All right. I was trying to figure out what he said. They said hold on. What happened? Now where am I? Oh, now I'm in the bathtub murder trial. What is happening? YouTube. Oh my gosh, it keeps taking me back to that one.
Sentences stand committed and it begins immediately.
I'm going back to look.
Restitution is not ordered in this case because it has not been requested, and court-appointed counsel fees and the number of people outside that bar for not more than 6 years, no less than 3 years. The sentences also stand committed and will be served court-appointed counsel fees. If you have if you commit no crimes, state or federal crimes, or have any major disciplinary infractions at the prison or other place of employment for a period of 15 years, starting today, for 15 years, then this sentence, both the minimum and maximum, will be suspended in its entirety. So this is designed to give you the incentive to be of good behavior, to not do what you just did 2 days ago at the jail, and
So with good behavior, he can be out in
obviously not have any other major
15.
disciplinary infractions. The other conditions, so if this sentence is suspended, it would be suspended for a period of 10 years from the date of so you will have to file an application to demonstrate to the court that you've complied with this condition. If the court grants that, then it will be suspended for a period of 10 years from the date it is granted. If it's suspended, the conditions were, again, meaningful participation in counseling, treatment, and education required by parole, no contact with the Pouliot family, and, of course, good behavior. Do you have any questions about the terms of the sentences? Right. The clerk will read to you your notice of your...
All right, so with good behavior for 15 years, he can apply to the court for the rest of his sentence to be suspended. That was confusing. So confusing. Okay. If he gets no trouble, 15 years, and the rest is suspended for 10, or he goes to finish the remainder on a violation. I wonder how different it would have been if he would not have gotten in that fight in jail a couple days ago. I wonder how different it would have been. Okay, so that's him. How much longer does this guy talk? So he talked for like 30 minutes. Do y'all want to finish the closings even though we already know what happened? Or do you want to call it a day? Yeah, we can do the bathtub one next week. God, I keep thinking I'm so like, I'm so used to starting late. I'm thinking like, man, if we're going to be catching up on a trial, but I forgot I don't have to start late. I can make whatever time frame I want next week and from now on. I cannot show the Thami again from yesterday because it was on Zoom, so it's not a video I can pull up, but you can pull up the video from yesterday. It's at the beginning. But I can't pull it up unless we watch my video, which is weird because I hate hearing my own voice. So, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna finish my book. I have that book that I'm reading. I'm almost done. You can see where, can you see? Let's see. Can you see this? Can you see? You can see I've got this much left. So I think I'm going to go out to the beach and sit in a chair and finish my book and relax and celebrate no more treatment. So exciting. Yes, the beginning of the second stream from yesterday, take 2, because take 1 was just a big old mess. And the beginning of take 2 was a big old mess anyway, but at least we got to see it. So, oh, the trolls be trolling. Trolls be trolling. Hide user. Hide user. Yeah, I banned them. Create an account today to come on and be a jackass. Can't ruin my day. Last day of treatment. Whoop, whoop. All right, y'all. I am going to go finish. I'm actually not sad that we won't be listening to this defense, honestly, because you know what? It was more than likely going to make us all mad. So I don't think any of us wanted to hear her be called a victim. How lovely. Brandi, you are incredible. Thank you. I'm so proud of you. Go read your book on the beach. Find a seashell to add to our celebration corks. Yes, and I've got my cork. Yes. Yeah, nobody raining on our parade. You know, pathetic people will always be pathetic people. Bless their little hearts. Can't rain on our parade. Her sentencing will be April 19th. April 19th. All right. 80s Music Man is kicking us out, so that means we got to get up out of here and get going. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. It has been, sub count. Well, when it kicked us off earlier, we lost 30. It dropped 30 subs. It keeps unsubbing people. I don't know why. So it dropped, but now it's come back up a little bit because I know some of y'all have said in chat, like you noticed that it kicked you off and so you had to resub. So it's come back up now. Now we're at 15,963. So, but it kicked like 30 people. It unsubbed 30 people when it kicked those 200 off earlier. So, all right, y'all. I know it drives me nuts. I put in a Shunk of Bacon has to resub every single day. It's crazy, isn't it? It's been real bad this month, and I can see when it does it. So I take a screenshot of the thing where it kicks everybody off, and I send it in to YouTube and tell them about it every single day. Drives me nuts. drives me nuts. All right. I'm going to go read my book, y'all. Happy Friday. And I'll do some looking. We will probably end up doing the bathtub trial next week if nothing else comes up that we haven't looked at or found yet. We can do that one and do like a catch up on that one. Hi. Lucy's jumping up here. But if there's any other ones that you'd rather see that are coming out next week, feel free to email them to me, Brandi at BrandiChurchwell13. So, did we not watch the verdict? We did watch the verdict together. Did it cut off my stream again? It may have. It did it the other day. So, if it did, then it'll be back when once I end the stream, then it starts over. I don't know why it does that. Don't know. All right, y'all. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for our celebration party for the last treatment. I'm glad that we got to see justice for Sweet Destiny. Got to follow through with the sentencing for delay. So we got a lot accomplished today. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank you so much. I will see y'all on Monday. Actually, I'll see you Sunday. Sunday night, I'm going to do a members only stream. So I'm going to do a members only stream. So it won't be super long. I just want to hang out and talk for a little bit. So we'll do that Sunday night. And then figure out details and plans for next week. So, sound good? Yay. All right, y'all. I appreciate you all so much. Mods, y'all are the best. Replay crew, love you so much too. I will see y'all. If you're not a member, become a member. Join us on Sunday. I'm not sure what time yet. I'm gonna have to figure all that out. But otherwise, I will see y'all on Monday, and we will figure out what time on Sunday so that I'll post it. So if you're not sure, make sure you turn on your notifications so you can get notified when we go. All right. I love y'all. Ace Music Man is pushing us out with the broom, so we got to go. All right. Not sure what time Sunday yet. It'll be Sunday in the evening sometime. Like late afternoon, early evening, something like that. So, all right, y'all. I will see y'all then. Have a great weekend.
I gotta go. I can't stick around here forever.
It was wonderful. Everybody behaved. Everybody's always so nice to me.
Just love your channel.
Goodbye, good people. Now, how the heck do I get out of here?